Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of, you guessed it, The Morning Glow. The Morning Glow. This is what we call Black Conversation. This is what we call Black Conversation. We talk about things and we open up the phone lines. Let me get the number up there for you. Open up the phone line, 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Give us a call. We love to talk to you. We love to hear what's on your heart, what's going on in and around your community and communities. If you got an event going on or whatever you got going on, all you have to do is give us a call right here at DKM Media Group and Associates, 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. We'd love to have you. Love to have you. We got to talk about today. One of the things that we're going to talk about today is bringing grandma back on the front porch. Bringing grandma. Do you remember those days? And it used to happen all the time when I was growing up, and I hope that you all had the experience as well. But I remember growing up, grandmother used to sit on that front porch, and as she sat on that front porch, she'd sit there for hours and watching everything that's going on in the community. And she'll sit there on that front porch, and she'll be, if she's on a rocking chair, she'll be on that little swinging chair, or she'll just be on a regular little chair. But she'll sit on that front porch, she'll get a little tea or whatever she's gonna get, lemonade or whatever she's gonna get, or toddy. You know, some grandmas used to get that little toddy. Let's be real with this thing. And they would sit out there on that front porch for hours and hours on hours, just watching the community as it goes by. But the thing about it, the best thing about it, I think the best thing about it is this: grandma was real comfortable, and grandma didn't have nothing to worry about. Wasn't nobody gonna mess with grandma when she was on that front porch. She was in her little safe place. She could go on that front porch, and after she do her little work that she gonna do for the day, she get it done. Grandma go on that front porch, and grandma would sit right there for hours. Sometimes I used to go out there and just sit with her on that front porch. Man, I used to love being out there on that front porch with my grandmother, because I didn't have to worry about nothing, and she didn't have to worry about nothing. Wasn't nobody gonna bother her. I promise you. You know, none of this stuff that's going on today was going to happen when grandma was out there on that front porch. She was in her place of safety. She was in a place where she wanted to be. She was comfortable and didn't have to worry about a thing. What happened to those days? What happened to those days when grandma could go out there and sit on that front porch? Why can't grandma sit on that front porch today? Because there's so much foolishness going on in and around our communities. There's so much foolishness going on, man. Grandma go on that front porch. Grandma might not be out there 10 minutes before somebody gets to shooting and all kind of things, man. Somebody come out there trying to take stuff from grandma. They trying to take grandma tea. They trying to do all kind of things, man. Grandma just can't feel comfortable on the front porch anymore. And my question is this: why? Why can't we get back to the days where grandma could be comfortable on that front porch? Why can't we get back to the days where grandma was good? Grandma, that was grandmother's place of peace, right there on that front porch. What happened to those days? This is Black Conversation, and we talk about things just like this on Black Conversation. So my question to you is: what do we have to do to get back to those days, or are they just gone forever? Are they gone forever? Grandma, I want you back on that front porch. Grandmothers, I want you back on that front porch. I want you to be able to go out there and just enjoy yourself as you used to, and not have to worry about a thing. Let's get grandmas back on that front porch. She deserved that. Some of y'all might call in and say, well, grandma ain't gonna get on no front porch. Grandma only 35 years old. Grandma want to go to the club and turn up. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. Because if grandma's 35 years old, somewhere along the line, we've dropped the ball. Somewhere along the line, we've dropped the ball. There's no way in this world grandma should be 35 years old talking about turning up. Man, come on, man. That ain't right. Come on now, let's keep this thing 100. That ain't right. And for y'all that think grandma need to be 35, we need to have a conversation. Grandma in the club with the grandchildren, with her daughter, or grandma or granddaddy in the nightclub with his grandchildren or his children. Talking about turn up. Come on, man. Gotta be a better way. I know there is. And you know that there is. So my thing is this right here, man. Let's get this thing right. Let's get this thing. Let's get this thing back to a place where grandma can be out there on that front porch and relaxing and enjoying herself like she used to. It doesn't make no sense for grandma have to hide inside the house. Grandma gotta hide inside the house because foolishness is going on in the community. Come on, man. Where they do that at? Grandma has lived her life, and she deserved to be able to be out there on that front porch. Grandma deserved to be out there on that front porch. So y'all give us a call, 678-381-1973, 678-38. Minister Robinson, give me a call, Minister Robinson, 678-381-1973. Let's talk about this. I want to hear your heart, and the phone lines are open. I want to hear all of y'all hearts, man. Tell me what y'all think. Why can't grandma go out there on that front porch like she used to? What has happened? What has really happened? What turn have we taken, however you want to say that thing? What turn have we taken that will not allow our grandmothers to go back there and sit on that front porch, on that rocking chair? I can remember this vision, man. I can remember the sight. My grandma would sit on that front porch, man, get in that rocking chair, and she won't rock fast. She never would rock fast. She would rock real slow on that front porch. But you could tell, man, she was in a place of peace. Man, I feel like I'm rocking right now with her, because that's what grandma used to do. Grandma would go out there, like I said again, she would go out there on that front porch. She would have her beverage, tea, lemonade, cocktail. Some of y'all grandma used to drink too now. Don't play like it ain't. This is the morning glow. We talking truth. Sometimes the grandmas used to have a little cocktail out there, but she'd sit on the front porch, and somebody come by, and she'll be that's Jimmy, Martha and Sammy boy. That Jimmy gotta watch. Jimmy got a light finger. Jimmy come in your house, you don't leave him right there by yourself. You don't leave him in that room by yourself, because you come back, something gonna be missing. Jimmy pick up stuff. Jimmy got a light finger. So when Jimmy come in this house, you watch him. You watch Jimmy. She'll tell you about that. Oh, look at that. That's Felicia. Felicia always been hot in the tail. And grandma knew everything about everybody in the community. But grandma, she'll sit there, she'll tell you, oh, that's Felicia. She hot in the tail. She hot in the tail. When 3 or 4 dudes be going through a house every week, you look at that front door swinging, and somebody's swinging in and somebody's swinging out. But the whole thing is, grandma was on that front porch. Grandma was in that place where she found her peace. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Can we get grandma back on the front porch? Can we get grandma back out there? What has to happen? Have the time, it's time just, and really what we're talking about is the sign of the times. I remember those days. Grandma had that, yes, sir. Grandma had that spiritual eye. Yeah. Because I know, I'm going to tell y'all something. Boy, look here, whoever that, I don't know who that is. Let's say that's somebody from Facebook, but yeah. Grandma, hey, Minister Robinson, you have to call in, brother. Minister Robinson, you have to call in. So we don't have to keep you long. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Yeah, grandma had that spiritual eye. And I know that grandma could look at you. And you try to deceive her a little bit. You try to be a little clever, a little slick. But grandma see through all your mess. Grandma see through all your, she said, okay, baby. Yeah, baby. That's what happened, huh, baby? Grandma, she'll say something like that to you while she's in the midst of doing what she'll be cleaning up, or she'll be doing something. She keep on doing what she's doing. Grandma keep on doing what she's doing. She don't even stop doing what she's doing. And she just talk, yeah, baby. Yeah. That's what happened, huh, baby? That's what happened, baby. And I could never get that like grandma did it. I could never get that But grandma had a way of doing that and it let you know Grandma do that, it let you know that, she ain't buying none of this. I'm saying I might well go ahead and stop talking. I might well get on away from the front of grandma because grandma ain't buying none of this. I'm saying everything. I'm trying my best to convince grandma of this lie that I'm telling. And grandma ain't buying now part of it. Yeah, baby. That what they said, baby? Yeah. Okay, baby. She got there. She'll pet you on the shoulder. And it's always that same 3 pet. Okay, baby. She'll turn and walk away from you. And by the way she touch you, she pet you, and she turned and she walked away from you, grandma ain't bought none of that. Now, but that foolishness you trying to tell grandma, she ain't bought now piece of it. Now piece of it. Give us a call, 678-381-1973, 678-381-1973. Now, I know that this topic right here is tender for a lot of people, because I'm gonna tell y'all something. If y'all are like I am, and I'm sure that a lot of y'all are, a lot of you are, grandmothers have a place in our hearts, and some of our grandmothers have gone home to glory. But grandma have a place in our heart, man. That's my grandmother. She's gone home. I can't talk too much because I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm a grown man of a certain age, but tears come to my eyes from my grandma, because she meant so. Man, look here, that woman meant the world to me. And I tell people all the time that if God would have asked me, she's going home to glory right now. But if God would have asked me, I have to make a choice. Either you can stay here or I bring your grandma back, but you have to take her place. That would be an easy question for me to answer, because I would tell God, look, bring my grandma back here, bring her back. I'll take her place. I'll go, because I feel what she did for me and what God allowed this lady to do in my life. The world would probably be a better place with her here than me. And people say, that's crazy, that blah blah blah. Some people say it's selfish to have her to want her to even come back to this that we're living in right now. But I think she will make a difference in a lot of my grandmother. I see my grandmother, man. People coming in the neighborhood and they be hungry. I see them hungry, and I come home from school or whatever. I come home, whatever, doing, just hanging out or whatever, and there's somebody sitting at our table that I've never seen a day in my life. Mama, who is that? Don't worry about it, baby. Don't worry about it, baby. They were hungry. You gotta feed them. Somebody hungry. The good book say she always said the good book say when you find somebody hungry, you feed them. You feed them. And look at it, man. It's so bad. I remember one night we were always in the bed asleep, and somebody broke into our house. We all in the bed asleep. It had to be about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Somebody broke in our house. And listen to me now. Somebody broke into our house, and they broke in the house. They didn't take nothing but a plate of food. Man, I ain't tell my wife. I gotta tell my wife this story. Oh man, come on now. Grandma was, yes, absolutely, yes, indeed. Now, who was that? Somebody know me. That said it right there. It said, Grandma was yes, absolutely. Now, man, look at here. Now, who is that right there? That said that? Somebody know me, man. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Yes, she was. Yes, Grandma was the patriarch. Yes, she was. Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, man, I seen that woman, man. I seen that woman do some. I can tell y'all some stories about what she poured into me, man. What she poured into me that will never. I'm gonna tell you something. I remember I was with my one of my aunts. I was with my aunt. I think it was I was with Margie, and I was young, and I'm talking until y'all call it. I'm gonna run my mouth. Y'all know that, but I was with my aunt in a Woolworth. Woolworth was a store downtown. It was downtown Greensboro, and no. This is the one that downtown Burlington. It was in Burlington, I think it was. But I was always hard headed. Little fella, and I'm in the store. And Mama always say, when you get in the store, don't touch nothing, but don't be up and down. Be in the store like you got some sense. That's what Mama used to say. I say Mama, I'm talking about my grandmother, but I call her Mama. And I'm in the store with my aunt, and I'm running up and down the aisle. I'm touching everything I could touch. I'm running up and down the aisle. I'm doing everything I know I could do because I'm with my aunt. She can't do nothing to me. I'm running up and down the aisle. I'm doing everything I could do. There wasn't no phones at that time. We could just, cell phone. You had to go to a regular phone call and blah blah blah. And I don't know whether Margie went and she called Mama or what. But I'm running up and down the aisle fast as I can. I'm running. And listen here. And I turned around a corner and going to run down another long corridor. When I turned that corner and I looked at the end of that hall, my grandma was standing right there. She was standing right there at the end of the hall. I stopped in my track. I said, "Oh Lord!" I stopped in my tracks. My eyes had been, oh, and I'm sitting there staring at her, and she just standing there. She just standing there, had her hand to the side, one hand on the little hip, and she was. And if I remember correctly, she was petting her right foot, just petting her right foot, looking at me, wasn't moving, just looking at me. She was giving me that look. She saw right through me. Grandma could see right through me. And I dropped my head. And she said, mm-mm. And I looked up and she did this here. She did this right here. And when she did that right there, I said, "Oh Lord." And so I slowly walked down and said, mm-mm, come here. And I went down there to where she was. And she asked me, she said some stuff to me. But this the part that stuck to me and it's still written on me right now to this day. She said, "You don't." And if anybody know me and know the situation, if you saw that movie Soul Food, Big Mama and the little boy, that was me and my mama right there. That was me and Mama to the core. That was us. It's hard for me to look at that movie because this is so closely related to who we are. And so I say that to say that that's how much I loved my grandmother. That's how much I loved her and still love her. And she looked at me and I was a little short fella. I'm still a short fella, but she looked at me and she was taller than me and she said, "You don't love me. You don't love me, do you?" Oh my God. Mom, what you talking about? What do you mean? Oh no, Mom, yes, I love. She said, "No, you don't." She said, "No, you don't." She said, "You don't love me, do you?" It's my grandmother talking to me now. The one I love so much. She said, you don't love me, do you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, I do. Yes, I do." I started crying because how you gonna say that to me? What you mean? What you mean? "Yes, I love you." She said, "No, you don't." She said, "Cause look what you're doing. We're going up and down these people's store and all kind of stuff." She said, "You don't love me so. You don't love me too much, do you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I went over. I gave her a hug and she peeled me off of her. And she peeled me off of her. She had to peel me off of her. And she kneeled down, got to my level, and looked me right in my eyes. She said, "You don't love me too much." I said, "Yes, Mom, I do, I do, I do." She said, "No." She said, "Look how you doing right now." She said, "The way you show me how much you love me is how you act when I'm not standing over your shoulder." She said, "I know you can act right when I'm there because you ain't got no choice." She said, "But I'm gonna tell you something. The way you show me how much you love me is how you act when I'm not standing over your shoulder. And the way you acting right now, you don't love me too much. And I promise you, everything that's in me, I promise you, I never acted like that again. Because I didn't want my grandmother to think that I didn't love her. So I had to respect that woman, whether I'm in front of her, Lord Jesus." Mm, mm. Man, we ain't supposed to. Excuse me, y'all. Mm. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. And y'all got me on the thing crying, all kind of stuff. Well, y'all all be sharing with y'all. I said, "Well, y'all some dirty folks." But that's what it is. We got to get back to the time, man, where grandmothers could be on that front porch again. hmm Yep, we got to get back to those days, man. And if y'all care for your grandmothers like I care for mine, like I love mine, I still do. She's, like I say, she's gone home to glory right now. But some of the stuff that she poured into me will live on every day of my life. So what do we have to do? What do we have to do to get back to those days? Y'all need to call in, man. Give me a call. Y'all help me out. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Give me a call and let me know if y'all have any stories of your grandmother, your mother, or somebody in your family that made a real positive impact on your life. Let's share that story. I'm trying to get Minister Robinson to call in. Can't get him to call in this morning, but 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. This is the Morning Glow. This is the Morning Glow right here at DKM Media Group and Associates, and this is what we call Black Conversation. Y'all got me out here by myself, man. Got me going into these stories, man, and got me tearing. I got my eyes sweating this morning. Eyes just sweating up. Man, got my eyes sweating this morning. Y'all ought to be ashamed yourself. Y'all ought to be ashamed yourself. That's why I tell y'all, man, grandmothers, people don't understand the impact that grandmothers have on your life. And sometimes we don't even tell them. Sometimes we don't even tell them the impact and the difference that they made. I'm gonna tell y'all something. A lot of the situations that I found myself in this thing called life, I find myself in. Somebody's calling in. Let me see what we got here. Okay, there we go. Trying to get this call. Let me see here. My phone is acting up. There we go. There you go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is the Morning Glow. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to this morning?
It's your brother, Minister Jawan, Joyful J. How are you, sir?
Hey, man, y'all playing a dirty hand on me this morning, brother.
You got me crying up here this morning, my friend. I am crying just thinking about the patriarch, as I said before, of my family, my grandmother.
Yes, sir.
It's man, you picked a perfect topic to talk about today, man. Just thinking about.
Come on.
And I'm not trying to preach today, but just thinking about,
brother,
the patriarch of our family and who she was. First off, to introduce me to Jesus Christ, in spite of all the stuff that was going on back then.
Yes, sir.
To introduce me to the Savior of the entire world, the entire universe. To introduce me to who brought her through, who brought her over.
Yes, sir.
As she cried at night, as she toiled with my grandfather, with my mother and my brother and my uncles and aunts, just to think about what she told me and how I couldn't, even though when I was younger, I didn't want to go to church on Sunday morning.
Yes,
I didn't feel like being ridiculed and say, oh, they go to a church and they always going to church on Sunday. But Grandma made sure you was in church.
Come on.
If you spent the night over her house, because it was fun on Saturday night, you had all the pizza you want, the movies you want, the popcorn, ice cream, all that. But come Sunday morning, no matter what happened, as you just said, my friend, come hell or high water, Sunday morning you're gonna find yourself not just in church, but in Sunday school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm crying. My God in heaven, I'm crying right now because I can just think about the times where I didn't want to go anywhere because I had fun with my grandpa watching the Westerns and Saturday night. I had fun eating the pork rinds with my grandfather.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Watching the Westerns and stuff like that on Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
But come Sunday morning, no matter how long you stayed up at night, no matter if you stayed up all night,
yes, sir.
You would get enough to make sure you was in Sunday school. My God in heaven, at 9:30 in the morning.
Come on, brother. Come on.
And my grandmother, and see, now you got me going down memory lane.
Yes, sir.
My grandmother said, I don't care what you do, but you listen. If you stand under my roof, or if you are related to me in any way, you want to take your tail. Or no, the old folks. I mean, I didn't say tail. They said hind part.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You gonna bring your hind part to the church?
Yes, sir.
On Sunday morning, you will meet Jesus on Sunday morning.
Yes, sir.
And so, my brother, it's been a while since I called in, but I had to call in today, man, because you are speaking right up my alley when you talk about grandma. I'm now thinking about Shirley Caesar. I remember Mama.
Come on.
In a happy way. I remember Mama in a happy way. My grandmother's going on. My mother now is going on. But I remember Mama.
Yes, sir.
In a happy way when you had your friends and everybody else outside playing and nobody know where it was going to get something to eat from. Grandma would say, "Come on in.
Come on in. Come on in here."
Food for you. She made meals out of what do you call it?
Scraps,
food
nothing.
stamp money.
Yeah.
Snack benefits with the government cheese. Grandma made macaroni and cheese. Grandma made that lasagna. Grandma made that pig feet and that chitlins that a lot of people don't eat nowadays. Because grandma was going to make sure you ate and you was fed because you had to get up to see Jesus on Sunday morning.
Yes.
How are you, my brother?
Man, look, I'm gonna tell you something, brother. Man, I love where you're going with this, man, because this is what it's all about right here. This is what it's all about, man, because we have to get grandmas and great grandmas them back on that front porch, man. We got to be able to get grandma back on that front porch because, and people say a lot of times, well, grandma 35 now she want to go to the club. Well, that's a problem too. That's a problem. But I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell you about somebody that's just called in. But I want to say this to you, man. I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, man, my grandmother's prayers helped me make it through some of them situations, man. That I'm supposed to be laid on that on a cold piece of slab of wood, man. I'm supposed to be laid on that.
Come on.
I'm supposed to be laid on that. They say that you have a birthday and you have a dash, and then there's that date at the end. What some of the stuff that I used to do, man, that date, that dash, and the date is supposed to be filled in right now. But because my grandmother prayed for me, man. Because she prayed for me, she stood in that gap for me. She said, "Look, no, God, that's my grandson. I know he wrong.
Yeah.
I know he wrong, but God spare him. He gonna get it right one day." And she's always said he gonna get it right one day. And I still pray for my grandmother that I get it right. I may not have it right now, but I pray to God that I get it right because she said it.
My brother, you're speaking so on point today. Because and as you talk about grandmothers, and I'm so glad you brought this topic up today, and how the Spirit of the Lord allowed me to see the call today. Because grandmoms, my God in heaven, she I remember specifically my grandmother, Evangelist Mary Downing, before she passed away. She she would drag us to church, and we would hate it. Me and my brothers, we would not like it when people would laugh at it and stuff like that. But my grandmother wrote in her Bible, she had a lot of scribbles and stuff like that in her Bible. But what she did was she wrote all of her children, her grandchildren's names in her Bible. She was a praying woman.
Yes, sir.
We don't hear much about praying women.
Come on.
These days. But she was a praying woman. She wrote all of our names in her Bible today. Until and that's this day. I mean, she passed away October, I believe it was 22nd, back in 1994. And I'm going back a ways, but this day right now, everybody whose name was written in that moment's Bible, even me, and I was a wretch undone.
Come on.
I was one of those chieftains, if you will. But every one of those names that was written in that Bible is now in church today, saved today, preachers today. I got 7 brothers, and almost all of us are preachers. But all of us that was written in that woman's Bible, a praying woman.
Yes, sir.
The Bible says, "I've never seen a righteous forsaken, neither the seed begging bread."
Yes.
But those people that was in that woman's Bible, that was in that patriarch's Bible, till this day, whether it be me and my brothers, whether it be my cousins, whoever it may be, all of us have a hand in church, some way, form, or fashion. Yes, it was because of that praying woman.
Absolutely, brother. Can I show this on your page, brother?
Yes, sir. Please do.
Okay. I just wanted to ask before I did it. We got another call. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Macarousas, Louisiana. I live in Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Man, I'm glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you're here, Donald. We talking right now about grandma, man, and putting grandma back on the porch and the impact that grandma had in our lives. Tucson, do you have anything you want to share about grandmother, man, or or who is it that made that impact? Because we talking about grandma, because I know what my grandma did for me. Man, they had me on here crying earlier, brother. That doggone minutes right there had me on here crying, man, telling my story. Y'all be ashamed of yourself, ain't
it? You know, I got two words. They go together. Well, boy, I think about that. Cornbread.
Stay Jack.
I don't know what they used to do to put that together. Buttermilk, probably. But it tasted like cake.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know? I don't know. You know what they used to cook with? The main ingredients they used to put in their food, and it would be in, I don't care if it was cornflakes or cornbread and black-eyed peas. But what they would put in it was love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Every time they stir that pot, they have the family in mind. They had a unique kindness about themselves that not only they would share it with you, but it was available for every child in the neighborhood.
And
I'm talking about the grandmother's wheel.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the real grandma. And I told the story earlier, Tucson, about I used to come home, man, from school or wherever I was coming home from, and somebody would be at our table, our kitchen table, sitting at our kitchen table, Tucson, that I've never seen in my life, man. I've never seen them a day in my life. And I said, Mama, who are that? Because I never called my grandma. Grandma called her Mama. I said, Mama, who are that? She said, don't worry about it, baby. Don't worry about it, baby. They hungry. And the good book says, she always said the good book. The good book says, if you see somebody hungry, you feed them. You feed them, baby. And so that's just somebody that was hungry. And grandma gave them something to eat. And I was like, man, all the time, I was like, man, Mama, why you keep doing that? And she always, I asked her, I said, Mama, why you keep doing that? She always said the same thing, called they still hungry. It could be a different person. She said they still hungry. And she would feed them, man. I remember, I remember, like I said, it was about between 12 and 1, maybe 2 o'clock, something like that in the morning. Somebody broke in our house, man. We all in the house sleep. Somebody broke in our house, man. And my uncle called him, but he couldn't catch him because, they ran. But Tucson, minister, the only thing they took was something to eat, man. They didn't take no TVs. They didn't take nothing. They came into the house, man. They got something to eat and they ran. I'm like, wow.
You reminded me of something. My brother-in-law, actually, his mom was a unique woman. If you go to her house, you definitely was gonna work out in the yard. You was gonna do that. You was gonna work. She was gonna put you to work somewhere. But she was this type of person. Check this out. These old houses, you can make a circle or a block inside the house. You would go one way, you could come into the living room or into the bedroom, hallway, or whatever it is, by making a circle. It would kind of go around.
Yeah.
So she was walking through the house, and somebody was in the house stealing. And so the young lady that was stealing, she caught her in the house. What you doing in my house? She said, give that bag. She grabbed the bag. She said, this my stuff. This my stuff. This mine too. Oh, this for you. And she passes it back to her.
Wow.
And she said, get on out of here. They had a certain bravery about themselves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One scared enough.
That even people that came in to disrespect them by stealing in such a way, they wouldn't harm them because they even shared love with somebody like that. Could you imagine somebody coming in your house stealing and they had something that was theirs in their bag and something that was yours, and all you would do is just take yours and give them back what belongs to them.
Yeah. That's love, brother. That's love right there.
Yeah.
That's absolutely, and see, and that's who we talking about. That's the grandma we're talking about right now, man. She was built. She was built different, man. She was built absolutely different. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, Rico Jackson from Madison, Alabama. Grand Rising, everybody.
Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. Out here getting it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rico, we talking about grandmothers, man, and allowing grandmothers the safety to be able to go back out there on that front porch, man, because time has changed so much, and we're reflecting on how much the impact that our grandmothers had on our lives. Rico, do you have anything to share?
I mean, yeah, that's a good observation, you know, to make. Can grandmama go sit on the porch like they did in the past? You know, my grandmother, she just passed away 9 years ago, and I still miss sitting down there sitting on that porch with her. Not only me, there's so many more people in the neighborhood that moved. You know, as time goes on, you know, the village changed faces. They moved, but they still would come back. And that would be one of their familiar things that I guess would make them feel good about the neighborhood, to sit on her porch and look at the old apartment that they stayed in, or look at the old house they stayed in and start reminiscing. And on top of that, I always remembering her being on that porch even when they were young.
Yes, sir.
And see, my grandmother, she had a knack of feeding all the children in the neighborhood before they went to school. So a lot of them called her mama. You know, they showed up at her funeral. But I noticed, when I was younger, everybody knew each other. You know, I considered all. I said when I grew up in the neighborhood that my grandmama was in, I had 5 older brothers that weren't related to me. 6, 20, 50. You know what I'm saying? So many people, because you really had that village in the 70s and 80s. You know, it didn't start ending until the 90s, a little past that. But after that happened, you started having people that the older generation, they're not familiar with. And then the younger generation, the ones that's the parents of these children, they're not familiar with the older ones neither. And they done been brought up wrong. The only reason they let the kids out on that porch and be nosy. Now, maybe they just monitoring the neighborhood to make sure everybody is safe. Because that's what the village used to do. And we got some old school grandmamas that know that you have people that are vulnerable and things that are that like people not being at home. You got to watch in case somebody strange come through and just scoping the house is going to break at them. It's good to have that old grandmama that sit on the porch that watches the neighborhood. Even if they just get out there and read the newspaper. Just to get some fresh air. So, you know, it changed. I remember even before she passed away, it changed because somebody walked up in her yard and tried to pretend to be somebody else, and she thought they probably were going to try to violate her, you know what I'm saying? And that was something she didn't have to worry about in the 70s or in the 60s before I was even born. So, you know, it's really, you have an option as a grandparent, but first you got to get them out the club from partying with the daughters now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was talking about earlier, man. A lot of these doggone grandmothers, man, like 35 years old, you know, I don't even know if they qualify. I don't know if they even qualify. But Minister, let me come back to you. Robinson, you there?
I'm here, my good friend.
I need to ask you a question, and I need to hear your heart on this right here, because I know what my answer is. But how have the family changed now that grandmother's gone?
That's such a deep and that's such a deep question, I'll say. The reason why and this is just my own personal belief, not pushing this on anyone else, but the reason why the power of grandma has gone is because the power of respect has gone. A lot of people don't respect their elders anymore. The Bible says, the scripture says, honor your mother, your father, that your days may be long upon the earth. But we don't honor our mothers and our fathers. We don't honor our elders. The Bible says, call for the elders of the church is in the sick among you. We don't honor those people who has been through it, if you will, and who have gone through the same things that we have gone through, or that we're going through as young people. We don't honor the people who have gone through it before, to value their opinion, to say, okay, you know what? They've gone through it. They got through it. So maybe if I follow that same example, I'll be able to go through the same exact way and be okay. Now we figure mama don't know what she's talking about because I'm just as smart as mama. Grandmama don't know what she's talking about because grandma was only 20 years younger than me or 20 years older than me because we've gotten so entrenched in the society that says you can do what you want to do, and as long as you're if you will, okay with how you feel, it doesn't matter how anybody else feels. It matters about how you feel. So that's why we've gotten so far fetched from what grandmom told us. The Bible says, and I'm only using scripture because you know that's how I am.
Yes, sir.
The scripture teaches us that if we honor the people who've been through it before us, our days may be long. It may be long upon earth. But if we don't honor them, we think that we know more than they do, we may fall in the same ditch they fell in and find out that we are worse off because we didn't take the advice of grandmama. If you're talking about grandmother's day, we didn't take the advice of the elders who have been through it, who have gone through it, who have done it, experienced that same issue. Because we think that we can just do what we feel is right or what we feel will help us. We sometimes fall in the ditch. The Bible says, how can the blind lead the blind? For both will fall in the ditch.
Exactly.
If mama fell or if mama fell or if your friend fell and you try to do it the same way they did because you think you're smarter than them, we're both going to end up falling in the ditch. We're both going to end up falling in the same detriment or the same hurt that the other person has fell into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tucson, what do you say to that, man? How have the family changed? How have the family element changed since grandma left? Tucson?
You asking me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I think my brother just said something that's missing. It's not that we don't have grandmothers. We don't have respect. Nobody respects each other. Nobody respects nobody anymore. I don't know where it went. But Rika said something that probably would be the thing. You do things with your child or your grandchildren that our grandparents or mom and dad didn't do with us. Like you said earlier, let's not play stupid. We know that they had something in that coffee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You best believe they had something in that coffee. But they weren't going to share it with you.
Yes.
If they did go somewhere, you wasn't going with them. If they was talking about something, you wasn't going to be sitting in the room while they talking about it.
Why you standing there staring in my mouth? Get out of my mouth.
Yeah, the grown folk talking.
Exactly.
But now we discuss grown-up matters with 5-year-olds.
Yep.
And wonder why they got a smart mouth. Wonder why they don't have respect for Mr. Sam down the street. Because you didn't talk to him about Mr. Sam. You didn't tell him all about Mr. Sam.
Every bit of it.
Every bit of it. And so when you know, and it is true. But see, people, you have to teach respect. I think you have to. I think you have to. You know, I would hate to see grandmother go back, and I know what you're saying. In the society that we live in, I hate to see grandmother go back on the porch because we probably have to hurt somebody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's the thing right there. That's the thing. We'll probably have to hurt somebody because they're gonna disrespect grandma. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Caller, what's your name?
You talking to me about me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Kurt, man, I'm glad you're here, brother, because I know the impact that grandma had on you as well, man. We're talking about getting grandma back on that front porch, man, and the impact that our grandmothers had on our lives. Kurt, speak to you about your grandmother, man.
Say it again.
Speak to me about your grandmother.
Man, words can't describe both of my grandmamas. Because I grew up with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Baby, you knew that. I grew up with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, brother. You know what I'm saying? My daddy mama was a Geechee, and my mama was a Georgia Peach. They both were the pillars to our families, man. Like, they was the glue. They was the best of friends. So it made things a lot easier. And there was just certain things that they just didn't tolerate. I mean, being honest, I wasn't ready to go down this road this morning, man. Because I miss him. Yeah. I miss him dearly.
I'm gonna tell you something. Let me say this to you, Kurt, and I got to be honest. And Minister, he was watching when I was here. I wasn't either, brother, because in the beginning of the broadcast, I was in here in tears, man. And Minister be able to vouch for me. He was right there watching me, man. And he wrote in the thing. Only thing he wrote was wow. Because talking about my grandmother, man, that's a real. And my wife will tell you, that's one of the most tender spots in me, man. Talking about my grandmother and the impact and how much she meant to me and the impact that she had on my life. So I feel you, man. I feel you. But still, we need to talk about it. Because
without a doubt, man. I just found out something a couple weeks ago that I was talking to my mentor, the man that saved my life. And he told me, he said, they called me his son. He said, son, he said, you and my actual son hold the two most powerful moments on my memory that I remember to the day I died. And I was like, wow, like, hold on. What did I do? And he told me, he said, no, it wasn't what you did. He said it was something your grandmother did. You know what I mean? He said that, when I guess you can call it, kind of got on the right path and started paying attention in school and trying to graduate. He said my grandmother called him and told him, I don't know what you did with my grandson, but I thank God for you and may God bless you. Because if it wasn't for you, I don't know where he would have wound up. We probably would have been burying him.
Yeah, yeah.
And just her call alone is one of the reasons why he never stopped trying to help young inner city kids, because it let him know that no matter if he got it right or if he got it wrong, he was doing the right thing. And so, listen, I can't realistically find words that can explain it. My grandma kept me from going to jail. I mean, she kept me from going to jail for a long time. She kept me from committing murder. Wow, bro.
Come on, Kurt. Come on, bro. Come on, Kurt. Come on.
Wow, man. This lady, both of them. My daddy mama only had a 6th grade education. My daddy mama only had a 6th grade education because she didn't allow for the mother folk to treat her or say to her whatever they felt like saying and however they felt like treating her whenever they felt like doing it. She did not allow that. So, she only had a 6th grade education. She raised a total of 10 boys and 2 girls. Practically on her own, because my granddaddy died. My granddaddy died when my daddy was 15. My daddy's the oldest. Right? My other grandmother, she raised the same on her own. And our family we ain't never been a family where mama was running back and forth down to the prison, paying bail money. That's never been in our family, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just their life experiences alone, man, speaks volumes. My daddy, I end with this, man, because I don't want to take a lot of time.
I just don't want to take down on him. My daddy, mama, man, gave me the greatest experience I ever had in my life. My daddy, mama was a dedicated Christian. Dedicated, right? Went to the same church for 50 plus years. Do you know when she died, man? She had in her will, nobody speak over my body other than my grandson, Curtis. Now, 3 of her sons are ministers and pastors. In her will, not my pastor, not my sons who are ministers, but my grandson is the person who speak over my body. And that's when I realized just how, because my daddy mama was mean, bro. They call her mean, mini man. Right? She was mean, bro. 4'2", maybe 110 pounds soaking wet with an egg in her hand. But I swear, boy, that saying that say it ain't the fight it ain't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog. Yeah, she rapped that, but she said that in her will that I was the only person that could speak over her body at her funeral. As far as her eulogy, you know what I mean? Preach her farewell sermon, you know, her farewell ceremony. And that's when I found out really just how much I really meant to her. Like I always knew I was important to her, but I never understood why. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Good deal. Hold on. Let me go to Rico. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Man, and see, this is beautiful because of the fact that it's all men that's here, man, and we're showing this honor to our grandmothers, man, that nobody probably ever knew that they meant this much to us. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all good and everything, man. You know, but if I ain't gonna make this no cry fest because I want somebody to get something out of it.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I can do this every time somebody mentions grandmama and get selfish and think about mine and not hear anything else of what's trying to be addressed. You know what I'm saying? So I want to try to make sure I get somebody to understand why they may not be able to sit on the porch no more. You know, we have devolved in our standards in our value system. So the things that they valued in the past, people don't value that anymore. You know, we went through this thing called integration. We went through this thing called feminism that later on trickled down and evolved into something called independent woman. You know, we went from having men of excellence being the leaders of the community to the pimps, the drug dealers being acceptable. You know, just think about the standards that went downhill when women started having children. And these same women that chose to believe that a dope dealer or a pimp or just a crook or a repeat offender was still, I'm going to say, worthy enough for sharing her body with and having children. Now they grandparents. And they're influencers. And they influence their children. And most of their children probably follow in the same footsteps based on the standards of your society and how everything started being embraced. So we have to look at those issues and wonder why is it that the grandma can't sit on the porch. See, we talk about the independent woman and the pimp. You know, they started making the gangster cool. That started making WAP be cool. When you listen to WAP and they say, well, they don't even have to cook or clean. But see, that's what made the grandma. She provided and made sure everybody was good. She made sure the husband went out the door. But now women these days have been taught that women from back then were stupid. Stupid like they were back then. Y'all mad now because women out here cheating as much as y'all were cheating. Yeah, men was having outside children. Now women having outside children too. Y'all mad. No, it's just the fact that our value system has devolved. So now grandmama can't sit on the porch because these same kids raised by these type of women and like gangsters don't understand that you can't shoot up grandmama's house because your op ain't there. You shouldn't be shooting up nobody's house. And that actually was a live shared yesterday. This happened out the blue for me to even mention that. Well, a woman was shot in her hand because some young boy came and shot up her house because they had a disagreement with her children. So, I mean, you know, grandmama can't sit on the porch because our community, our society, like you don't even know your neighbors anymore. If grandmama did sit on the porch, she wouldn't know who her neighbors were because they moved out every year. Nothing stable, nothing consistent. So, we have to sit back and wonder, these things that the new generation hold against the older generation and our elders, should they really be valuing them instead of looking at them negative?
Mm-hmm.
Because grandmama can't sit on the floor like she used to. She gets straight bullets.
Yeah.
But we gotta set accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And look at where it started. That's why I went back to integration and feminism and the atmosphere it created. I remember at one point in time, I think I talked about this yesterday. One point in time, it was hard to find porn.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get it free. Now you know these people on a first name basis.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm pretty sure I know some grandmamas right now that I got on video. But you want to call my grandmama on now?
Mm-hmm.
What's the odds of anybody on this town catching their grandmama making a homemade porn?
Wow.
That was probably something they wouldn't even wanted to do. But yeah, I bet you I can name over half the grandmamas now. And a lot of them, they got some tapes.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted to be an independent new woman, free to explore her body and live her life and her sexuality with no consequences or no judgment. And it's hard to make a grandmama, our type of grandmama, or somebody that still want to be recognized for the porn tape she made in her heyday. Mm-hmm. Man, can you imagine how many grandchildren have turned on videos and seen their grandmama? From back in the day?
Exactly. But and see, the thing about that is, and you said it, you said it right on point. Not the grandmothers that we used to, that we're familiar with. They won't do that because they were built on something and they had standards of themselves, and they make sure that you lived up to the standard as well. They made sure that make sure that you lived up to that standard, because they ain't gonna have you out here just doing how they say willy-nilly and doing all kind of things. Grandmothers had that, and you weren't gonna act a certain way in front of them.
The grandmamas I know now came out in the 90s, graduated in the 90s like me, or maybe in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I see these grandmamas and you know what I be thinking about? Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, if their children or their grandchildren only know what kind of freak she was. Ooh, I remember when we was at Freak Nick. Mm-hmm. Those grandparents now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what went on at Freak Nick? Those are the grandparents now. You know what we were doing after we were listening to Luke Skywalker and Two Live Crew pop that piece? Oh man, we were getting it in.
Mm-hmm.
They was encouraging us and we were doing it. And now those people grandmamas. Mm-hmm. And all of us to sit back and look at today's grandmamas and be like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. If you only know how that thing ran to.
And see, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's the thing right there. See, we want to concentrate on the good. I want to concentrate on like my grandmother back in the day, that I know was built on something. Now these are young grandmothers that's out here today. And I said at the beginning of the broadcast that we was gonna actually get here. We can't concentrate on those. We got to do something to fix and hopefully fix and repair those in some kind of way, because those are not the grandparents.
Find out what caused it. Find out what caused that atmosphere. What caused that momentum to go in that direction.
Standards drop. You said it, the standard drop, but we need to figure out a way to get them back, because you're absolutely right. The standards drop and they're not looked at and deemed the same. Sometimes they want to go to the club with the daughters, or granddads want to go to the club.
You know what? If you really look at that, I don't want to say the standards drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be obvious. The standards drop. But digging deeper into what Rico is saying, the truth is the standards changed.
Mm-hmm.
See, we always have these conversations. And it's not, when I say we, I'm not just talking about us on this radio station. Just people in general. People in general always have a conversation about a given situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't understand risk-cost analysis. So when you look at risk-cost analysis, yeah, we can talk about, for example, why we not making. We can talk about the fact that we're not making what we projected we would make for the year, right? If we do that, all we do is spin wheels. If we never have a conversation about why. The why being that, you know what, the standards drop. because the narrative changed. The standards changed. For example, I always think about, when I think about standards for male and females, right? I actually did a study with 30 participants, 15 males, 15 females. And it was during the era, the sagging era, you know, and we all remember when sagging was like, it was not only the creme de la creme, but it was way extreme, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did a study with 15 males and 15 females. I went to the males and I said to the males, you know, basically, hey man, look like the girls like the bad boys and this, that, and the third. Like, y'all gotta shift this up. Or y'all or just do what the girls like. The whole while the males didn't know that I went to the females and I said, look, any young man that come before you and his pants are sagging and he looking all dirty, this, that, and the third, I said, do not speak to them. Do not tell them that we had this conversation. Do not speak. Don't give them no play when y'all in school. Don't give them no play. They all went to school together. They all went to school together, took classes in one classroom. So the girls was with it for 2 weeks. Right? And it took 3 days. It took 3 days for at least 4 young men out of 15 to build up the courage to come to me and say, hey, Mr. Kirk, man, we need to go to the Walmart. What y'all need to go to the Walmart for? Man, we need to go and buy belts, man. Mm-hmm. And within them 3 days, the girls started telling them, without telling them, I told them to do it. Man, I'm not speaking to you. Your pants hanging down too low. But the narrative was being controlled by outside forces that said, this looks good. This is what you're supposed to be. So if we can try our best to start speaking on the why, like Reek said, like, why did it change? When did it change? We gotta address the fact that, for example, a part of the change is due to the emasculation of the brown and black community. That's a part of the change right there. The total domination and removal of men in a given community or society. I don't care if they men that's doing good, doing bad, doing indifferent. But if you remove the presence of men in a community and you dumb that down, grandmama can't set on porch.
Okay, good deal. Let's go to Minister. What's on your heart? Robinson, you there?
Oh yes, I'm here. I'm here. I didn't know if you were talking to me or someone else, but I'm definitely here. I'm totally engaged in this conversation. The gentleman who just spoke before me is 100% correct. I believe. Mm-hmm. I believe. The scripture says that, as I said before, except he shortens the time, men will get weaker and wiser. We're weaker now because we want to go on our own volition, on our own experiences, except for the experiences of, as the topic of the show is, our grandmothers, those who have come before us, our predecessors who taught us how to do things the right way. People don't respect grandmothers. I remember, and I'm only thinking about my specific grandmother. I remember that people wouldn't even curse on the same block if they knew that my grandma was outside on the porch. Mm-hmm. People wouldn't even say foul language or do anything that they wanted to do because they knew that the Moore's grandmother or the Moore's family member was on that block. Somebody who held up standards who was going to hold you accountable for what you say, for what you think, for what you do on the block. People had honor and respect for those people who came before them. They don't do that now because everybody wants to be, and this is just my opinion, everybody wants to be, you know what, I'm better than I was before. I'm not going to beat my kids as much because beating only hurt my kids, but it didn't keep them out of anything. But the Bible says if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. My grandmother used to beat us. Mm-hmm. My grandmother used to tell us what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Mm-hmm. If you do wrong, wrong is going to come to you. If you do right, right is coming to you. Because we don't hold our children accountable as our grandmothers did before. That's why nobody honors grandmother, nobody reverence grandmother to this day anymore. Because my mom knows what's best for me. That's my parent, not my grandmother. Mom has my back. Mom's gonna make sure she pays for my trip in school, and she's gonna do whatever I tell her to do because I told her to do it, not because I have responsibility or have accountability. Nowadays, in my own humble opinion, children or us today, people today, don't have respect, honor, and reverence for those who have come before us, who have been there, who have done that, to teach us how to do better than what they've even done.
Exactly. Tucson, talk to me, brother.
This is something that is kind of like where we were. How do we get that atmosphere or that feeling or that care and love and the community environment that we once had? How can we get there? I don't think it's really possible because the generation that's coming thought, and it's being taught that we were a bunch of stupid people with slave mentality. That's why you beat your kids, because the master beat you. The Bible that we read is from the white folks. That's what they believe. That God that we believe in is not real. Well, let's go there, and that's just me, because it was something about them coming out of that cotton patch, out of slavery, out of oppression, that made them have standards. I don't know what made them have standards, but I know one thing: they were some praying people. They prayed and sang and worshiped and praised. They sure enough didn't do it like the Caucasian people. It was kind of like the battle when the children of Israel was in Babylon. They was like, sing me on the giant's song. But they may have wanted them to sing for entertainment, but it was something about the way they sang it that was appealing to other folks. You know, they had a way of, in the cotton patch, they would break out in a song, "Meet Him Tonight," on the old cracked ground. That really was a message that we need to talk. We need to communicate with each other in this oppressed state, that we need to get together so that we can uplift each other. We're already down. So they would in the woods somewhere, that even their, what you say, master didn't know about it. They would break out in a song on possibly an old wooden floor or no floor at all, and they would sing in a way of that kept the heritage that was handed down from generation to generation. We forget about that. We think that these folks were stupid because they was oppressed, but they had the, if you would say, the Kunta Kinte mentality. You gonna cut my leg off before I really be a slave. I'm trying to survive.
Come on.
There were some survivors that even brought out and then being oppressed and being ridiculed with the dog sector and being couldn't go in the back of the bus, couldn't vote, couldn't do that, was a percentage of the human being, but they had pride and standards. when they came out, you notice how they dressed?
Yes,
they
sir.
had this hat and this knit suit, or they had a tie on, they had dirt on their waist, and they would hang their head down, and they didn't do anything to make them, cause them to have their head down. They were prideful, not the type of pride that comes before a fall, but they'll look a man in the eye, even when they didn't want him to look him in the eye. That
That's
said,
good.
look, we're gonna come out of this.
Exactly. Now, Rico, grandmothers had a certain fire about themselves, like Donna and Curtis said, they were not afraid of anything, man. Back in the day, them real grandmothers, man, that we're talking about today, they had no fear. They would stand up against anybody, man, anybody and anything, and dare them and dare you to do something to them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, they had, because their struggle to survive was much deeper. I was glad Donald went there because he said exactly what I couldn't wait to say. You know, I use the words society, especially Black people, hooked on convenience. But really and truly, it's instant gratification. They don't understand that sometimes you got to struggle and be resilient and just put up with a little bit to actually succeed and get victory at the end to attain your goal. It's always better in the end, you know what I'm saying? Especially united. But see, just think about the time that they were in. At the time that our grandmothers came up in, they couldn't afford to be selfish and individualistic. They couldn't think like that because it was a matter of survival. See, they lived in a time where if you just got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, somebody would kill you like a dog in the street and wouldn't nobody go to jail for it. So we had to make sure our children were going to be protected until they learned to understand why they needed to be united. See, it wasn't an option to be united or not. Now we begging people to unite. We begging Black people to get on the same page and have to stand for each other and unite. We begging for the Black community to bring the village back. And the reason why they don't bring the village back because they don't understand what it took to get where we are. They don't appreciate it, or they just don't know. But see, you have to understand their struggle. You know, it was nothing for an immature situation to come around. It was nothing for somebody to be taken off somewhere and just beaten half to death or sexually abused by men by other men. Or women that did housekeeping. You know, my grandmother was a housekeeper, man. She told me some stories. She got violated. And then nobody do nothing about it. And a couple of times people had the nerve to tell them, yeah, better not say nothing. They ain't gonna believe you. And one time it was a painter. He wasn't even the people she was working for. It was just somebody over there painting the house. Took advantage of her because she's a nigga girl. See, but these women that are twerking right now and dating gang members and throwing up crip signs and talking about WAP, I ain't got to worry about just being raped because they're Black and ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it. These young Black men ain't got to worry about just walking on the wrong side of town and say, hey, boy, you drinking out there the water fountain? No, they think they got the right to go buy red bottles and talk to the money. So, you know, it was a necessity for the village to be united, for the Black community to be united, especially. It was a necessity for those grandmothers because the fathers went out there and risked their life not only to work, but just to get back and forth and make a dollar without being mistreated or beaten up. You know, you ever heard of Black Wall Street in Wilmington? Successful Black people making money, and you see what they did to them. So every Black person was in that atmosphere. The way if they were doing too good, somebody might say, you're uppity nigger. Come here, boy. I ain't gonna pay you as much for your services. So it was a big reason for the grandmother to be strong and solid the way she was, because that man had to come home and deal with all the disrespect that he dealt with on his job, or just in everyday communications with the opposite race as a Black man. And then come home and then try to be a father and be a man. The same type of man that was being broke back in the day. Had to go back to the quarters with the rest of the slaves and still look like a man and a father to his wife and children after they don't watch the slave masters run up in them. I mean, so, you know, the mother had to be more supportive back then. She knew her role. She understood it. And there was a deeper love and respect for the atmosphere. Some may call it fear. And if you want to call it fear, you still gotta understand they did a lot of fighting back. You want to call it fear, they did a lot of uniting.
Rico, I don't think and I look at it and I guess I could understand why some people may say that it was fear. I can understand why they would have that idea in their head dealing with this day and time. But my thing is, I think, and I want to go to Donald with this. I think that it was more strength. They had more strength to be able.
It was both.
Yeah, exactly.
It was both. Fear could make you break or fear could make you strong. Because you don't like to be in that situation. I mean, I think they got strong and united because they feared their children being taken advantage of or being immature.
Yeah, because they had to have their strength, man, to endure and to make it and to make it through these horrible situations that they was placed in. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, I look at, and Rico talked about a lot of things that they had to face to survive. You have to continuously every day be in a survival mode, because if you walk from work or from school to home or vice versa, it was possible that somebody saw you, even if it was local sheriff or police officer, and the first thing they'll say is, "Where you going, boy?" Or waiting, or "Here, get out." And then she in the back seat, either take you in the woods and hang you, or rent you. And they go back to their job. And you go, if you would survive, you go back to your house. And then the husband or the wife would look at each other and realize what they had to go through. And they would appreciate it just to be able to survive it. So the mother on the porch, the grandmother on the porch per se, would be reminiscent about life's struggle and how can they get their families to do better. And not only their families, but every little boy or little girl in the neighborhood, they would sit on that porch, and you can just imagine going through oppression on a daily basis. And then you see these boys and girls playing down the street, and they start cutting up with each other. And grandmother would say, "Y'all come here." And they would talk to you about the way y'all was conducting yourselves with each other. Y'all need to get along.
Exactly.
There was a reason why they needed to get along, because there were some other people that was already doing them bad. So y'all need to fix that. However y'all need to fix it. So there was a reason why when we would struggle, we knew the neighbors would struggle. So if we had something that we had to share, we would share it with each other to get each other through.
Exactly.
Now we live in a society that everybody's for themselves, and they heck with you. I don't have how can you have respect for me when you don't have respect for yourself?
Absolutely. Curtis, let me ask you this question, because we're talking about a lot of different areas right here with grandmother. But though grandmother was very loving, she was very loving. Would she put that hammer down too, though? Kurt?
What do you say, man?
Though grandmother was very loving, would she also put that hammer down on you if she had to?
Man, both my grandmamas had the hammer at the door, boy. Listen, man. All right, man. Look, when you speak about grandmama and them, you gotta tell the truth. Now, both my grandmothers come up here, man, from the South, man. They became friends, man. You know how they made money. You know how they fed their families, man.
How's that?
They ran a card house, man. My grandmother my daddy mama was she was like the madam. My mama was her right hand man.
Mm-hmm.
So they ran a car house. So when you come in the house, you understand what I'm saying? You sat down playing cards, you know what I mean? And you got my mama, she worked in the floor. My daddy mama is taking her cues from my mama as to where she gonna place her money. Plus, the house getting paid, because guess what? The real spoils go to the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They later found Christ, you know what I mean? But it was already in them because, you know, both my grandmothers came from like Christian families, you know what I'm saying? But they later dedicated their lives to Christ or whatever. But man, lay the hammer down, man. Ain't nobody want to see Annie, man.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody want to see me, man, for real, man. Listen, man, I don't watch my grandmama. This is some real talk, man. My grandma Annie, right? I swear, Raheem, she was only 4'2", man, maybe 110 pounds, soaking wet with an ankle and a hand out. She come to the window and she tell this dude, this vagabond, I don't mean no harm, baby, but you can't sit there, because she cleaned her steps. You know, up here in Baltimore, that used to be a big thing. Every Saturday, you know, you will see the kids or Big Mama, you know what I mean, out on the step with some Ajax and water, scrubbing the steps, because all our steps is marble, right? You know, your front porch, even though you ain't have much front, all you got is a stool. You know, you took pride in that. She tells her buddy, she said, hey, look, man, I don't mean no harm, man. But you can't sit there, baby. I got grandkids and kids coming by. You know, he a vagabond. He about half dead. You know, he said something real foul. I was sitting in the room with him. He said something real foul. So I jump up because I'm about ready to go downstairs. She said, no, Kurt, no. She said, watch this. She went to a little bucket she had in the room, man, where she had out some of the things she had in there. I don't want to say on this broadcast, but I will say that she had. You remember the old ivory soap?
Yeah.
That was one of the products in this little bucket. She went back to the woman. She said, now, I'm going to tell you, this is the last time I tell you now, get off my step. He say something, man, she threw that thing out on, man, I ain't never heard, man, the only time I ever heard somebody cry like that is when I was in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, man. Man, I bet you what, he got off that step, he never came back and sat in front of the step ever again. Yeah, when he would walk up the street, we'd be sitting out front, yo, he would cross the street. To walk by, he would cross the street, literally cross the street. And then once he got past Mama's house, then he'll cross back over to our side of the street.
She threw some respect on him. Robinson, what's on your heart? Yes, sir. She threw
And we ain't even gonna talk about Raheem. We ain't even talking about the Georgia Peach. Because she was full-blooded Indian.
Exactly.
We ain't talking about her. Now, I seen her beat up two brothers at the same time.
Hold on 1 second, Kurt. Let me pull some. Hold. Stay where you at for a minute. Robinson, what's on your heart, brother? Robinson, you there? Robinson has some issues with his line there. Robinson, are you there? Rico, talk to me, brother. I think he has some issues with his line.
Yeah, man. You know, them grandmothers, man, sometimes they didn't have to put their hands on you, you know what I'm saying? Especially coming from the grandchild perspective. You know, I can count on my hand how many times my grandparents had to actually just put their hands on me. Now, don't get me wrong. They let me get away with a lot of mess. They did. And that's what grandmamas do. You know what I'm saying? They let you push the buttons a little bit. They let you cross the line just a little bit. They let you toe it. They let you go up there and draw your toe right across the edge, dude, and they'll reel you back in.
Yes, sir.
Now, they think it's funny sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But when you know you get a little out of hand, they also know the children don't know when to draw the line all the time. When they are not around, you know. So you push that button, and then all of a sudden they give you that look. So I used to have it used to be a look that my dad's mom used to give me. Man, I never felt threatened and when she was gonna get violent. And it always hit me hard because I knew I could tell by the expression on her face she was disappointed.
Yes, sir.
Either I looked stupid, or it was just disappointing to her, period. And when she was disappointed in you and you seen it in her face, man, you knew either I looked like a fool or I did something bad. Not just a fool, a whole fool.
Come on. Not the whole fool, Rico. Come on now.
Bad. So when you saw that look on that face, you be like, oh man, did I not just embarrass myself or disrespect me? Come on. So I mean, it didn't have to take that whipping. You know what I'm saying? But now with my other grandmother, the different story because she was a little bit more of a hell raiser. And so, you know, I found out as I got older that she was one of them and she got Indian in her too. You see it up here, you be like, man, look at that hair. And she was one of them that used to like to fight. I couldn't tell this about her, you know, then I knew she was real and she could handle herself, you know, then, but I didn't know her how she was when she was a little girl coming up and when she was a teenager. And, you know, then when my mom was very young, I didn't know that grandmama. I just knew the one that was, you know, that 44 when I was born. And I held her on a different type of pillows. But then I saw I had one aunt that just would not get right. And later on, after my grandmama reminded, well, she didn't remind me, she revealed. Yeah. Well, I'm just doing what I saw. That was me. I used to like to go pick fights. She said I start some mess, but it would always be with people that thought they went for bad. So, you know, she got it honest. And I was like, okay, that's why Jack is like that. She got my grandmama and my granddaddy deep in her because grandmama was like that too. So, you know, yeah, she, you know, you'd be surprised at what they did when they were young. But, you know, like I said, coming from the perspective of when I was able to come in contact with her, I didn't see that side of her. But she would let me push the button. She would let me push the envelope. As I got older, we would gamble together, play talk. She'd cheat on me, take my money. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, she was she was easy to get along with. You know what I'm saying? You still respected her, but at the same time, you didn't have to walk on eggshells. But with my father mother, man, I ain't gonna even say you had to walk on eggshells. You just felt like being a better person because she made you feel that way. Yeah. So, you know, I don't know if anybody's ever been that way before, but I cuss like a sailor on my regular way through my regular conversation. But some women or some people, for some reason, some people, the energy they put off to me has me talking so respectful, and it's not even intentional. I just know that I don't have to come to them with this regular street energy. And so that was the way my grandmother was. It's good. She didn't demand it, but she was just such a kind person that people would just come to her with that respect anyway. They didn't want to disappoint her. So they wouldn't let her hear say and talk in certain ways. That's good. So, you know, yeah, they'll stand their ground. They will stand their ground. They'll put that hand on you if they need to.
And won't hesitate. Tucson, talk to me, brother. Walk light, but carry a big stick. Did that, Grandma? Tucson, you there? Will somebody tell Tucson I'm gonna dock his pay? He will get his pay gonna be docked for the day. I don't know what Tucson doing over there. Robinson, are you with us? They must be on their own thing. Kirk, talk to me, brother.
Let me you say walk. What you say? Walk right and carry a big stick.
Yeah, walk light and carry a big stick.
Man, let me tell you something. Pastor Minnie L. Stanley. That was my mom. That was my mom's mom, right? My mom's mom was one of the first female holiness pastors in the city of Baltimore to have her own church. She started her own church, built it from the ground up, man. I tell you, when I heard Rico talk about sometimes it didn't have to be violent. This is gonna sound crazy what I'm about to say, but the fondest memories I have about how tough my grandmama was, and y'all down there in Georgia, so for them folks that's down there from Georgia that's on this radio station, y'all probably know Skeeter, or you heard of Skeeter. She was an Underwood, and she married a Stanley. So for them folks in southern Georgia, that southern part of Georgia, they'll let you know, like, them two families, they wasn't nothing to play with, man. But my fondest memory, bro, real tough, I never forget it, was the week before Christmas, 1981. My grandmother did not believe in putting up no fake trees in her house. That was not, you come to the door with a fake tree and she walked in, she gonna tell you, oh, you can go on down Road Peace with that now. She believed in putting up a real alive tree. Always was an evergreen. And one year she bought this tree. The tree had to be about 9 foot tall, man. So my uncles and them got it in the house. You know, they doing what uncles do. You know, they drinking and, you know, being festive. But they doing what they do all the time. They drinking and talking trash.
Mm-hmm.
So they get the tree in the house. And you remember the old green tree stands, you know what I mean? Had little screws on. So she said, Ben, come on, help me put this tree up. I said, yes, ma'am. So they stood the tree up against the corner. So I'm ready to be rah. You know, I go over there, go to grab a tree, man, and evergreen pine start poking. I'm like, oh. Man, my grandmama sat there for about 3 minutes watching me trying to put my hands on the stalk of this tree. And I look back at her, you know, and I must have had that look like, hey, mama, I rescued you, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But she had this look when she stood up, like she was saying, I could hear her saying, Lord have mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, she got up and walked over. She stuck her hand in that tree as if it was not one pine off. Grab that ball, pick that whole 9 foot tree up off the ground. Hey, go place that. Go now. Place the fan right there. You remember how the fans used to have a little, you know, they got the bites at the bottom, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The way you gotta slam the tree, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when she slammed that tree, I hear my Uncle Kent in the basement jump. Oh! He started falling down. His house, man. He come running upstairs. Man, what's wrong? I said, man, what you talking about, man? I would just put the tree in his bed. But she picked that thing up, man, and she slammed it down in there to where it caught immediately. And she all right, screw it down now. So I screwed it in, and she let it go. She stepped back, she said, perfect. She said, that's all you had to do, baby. I'm like, Mama, you didn't get the pies ain't sticking. She said, ain't nothing but pie. She said, it ain't nothing but pie.
Yeah.
You gotta learn to be a country boy. And I said, well, I don't think we get much more country than this, but I didn't know back then, you know what I mean, just at that time, I didn't know all the things that they had gone through, and Rico and Donald and the other brother, I can't remember his name, forgive me, brother. Y'all are absolutely who. Somebody said something about the newer generation really don't know the things that Mom and them went through just so that they would be healed, just so that they could survive through the day. And it is, man, both my grandmothers got burned out. of their houses, of their land, when they were little girls. I just pay homage to them, man, without a doubt, man. My grandmother gave me money for my prom. My mom and daddy was too jacked up. They didn't have no money. My grandmother took me in a room and she went in the closet. She threw everything out of the closet, went all the way down to the deepest crevice of the closet, pull out a pocketbook I'd never seen in Paris before. I never forget it. Gave me $335. You go on to the prom.
Wow.
You go on to the prom. You know what I mean? So, man, I swear, man, when I think about them two right there, you know, not to make mine better than anybody else's, but I ain't gonna lie, man. God broke the mold when he made them, man. When he made Big Mama, he broke the mold, man. Like, he broke the mold, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me see. Donald Tucson, are you back with us? Somebody got some background noise going on there. I think there might be Rico. Huh? There you go.
I said I'm going to mute my line because I know like the feedback from my truck is probably coming through the phone.
Got you. Rico, I don't think we have Donald back with us yet, and Robinson, I think he may be away from the line as well, brother. So tell me this: if we could go back in time, and hit a button and get us back to where grandmothers used to be grandmothers, and where grandmothers was the cornerstone of the family, how far would we have to go back?
I say, when the grandmother would come, well, you don't have to go back that far. I mean, you know, like I said, my grandmother, she just passed away 10 years ago. Well, 9 years ago. It feels like it only, you know, Did none of that go on that earth?
Nope.
We know you got kicked out.
Yeah. I got kicked off, y'all. What y'all just say?
Man.
I feel a whole lot.
What you want to say? Sum it up, brother. Yeah, sum it up on that, because I don't think I'll be able to drop it all the way I just did. And if not, I'll try to come back and back it up.
All right. Basically, what Rick just said is it's time that we accept and understand that these mamas managed to live through everything from slavery to the black code, from the black code to Jim Crow, from Jim Crow to the civil rights movement, from the civil rights movement to institutional racism, and still manage to teach their children the proper way to have to guard their families and the proper way to understand, listen, if you don't respect that man, what image of security you have will be removed. He was explaining that you gotta understand these women live through a terroristic society. If you look at what a terrorist is and you go back and look at the things that was being done to these women and their families, the folks that was doing it would be considered terrorists. Then he dropped the rule with the red shirts, something that you never, ever hear about, and which is probably one of the main reasons why, I'm just adding this in here, probably one of the main reasons why they are so quick to fight against the critical race theory. Because what'll happen is in critical race theory, what will happen is those things that were untold will be told, and those things that was lied about will be discovered. The red shirts, my God, bro. They was, if you was to break it down, the Klan was the one to assemble all the men in front of all the women. They assemble all the women in front of the men. The Klan would give the orders. The red shirts is the one that would take a pregnant woman and cut her from her throat down to her private areas and let the baby spill out in front of everybody and whoop it. The red shirts was something serious, man. They were beyond just
evil.
I hate you. They displayed their hate in action, not in words. So Rick just brought that thing all the way from basically from slavery to present day. You understand? Man, boy, he just And to add to it, you know, like I said, if you look at what's wrong with today's generation and why they can't relate, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about that instant gratification. You know, they don't have time to go in and dig deep into certain subjects. They don't know how to go to a library and read the unnecessary. You know how you could go and look up something in the encyclopedia and you mess around and learn something you weren't even looking for what you were looking for?
Yeah.
You find out something else. Okay, well, they don't have that opportunity now because what they're looking for, it could be brought right to them immediately. Just type it in a box. So, you know, they don't know about the struggle and the work effort put forward to be successful or to be a unit. And so I thought about the old grandmothers. Like I said, they you know, we have examples of them now. It's just very few. They're not in the majority like it was in the past. You had the floozies back in the past, but you have a lot more now, a lot more ability. And so those women in the past, they had to be strong because they were more understanding of what the black man was going through. Their husbands, they're protecting their providers. They knew as a black man that this man might get fired from a job just because somebody had the power to do it. And they lived in not only a terrorist society, injustice.
Have more compassion.
They lived in a society where injustice was rampant.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being understood, that woman had to walk light but carry a big stick because she was the last line of defense.
Mm-hmm.
See, that black men became broken. A lot of black men became broken. They came home and they drank their sorrows and their pains because of their experiences.
Well, Rico, can I say this too? Or truth of the matter, and we hate to deal with this part of it, but a lot of times what a lot of the men would do, they would come home and take out their frustrations on their wives or their significant others.
Well, that's what I was getting to. That was the reason why she had to walk light and carry a big stick, because she know that man was damaged. With all this stuff that a black man had to put up with back then, he was still a man. And if he couldn't be a man nowhere else, he was going to be a man in his home. And if she didn't walk lightly, understanding he was in this traumatic experience every day trying to provide for his family, he might take his frustrations out on her. So she still had to know, okay, I ain't strong. I'm strong. I ain't scared, but I'm still a woman. And this man will do something bad to me, or he'll make me do something bad to him. When really and truly, it shouldn't be that way, because he's really frustrated because he ain't getting promoted. He's doing work, he ain't getting paid for it. Boss didn't pay him his check. They fired him. He went to jail for a reason that he shouldn't have gone to jail for. You know, a lot of people went to jail back then and were taken away from their family for crime they didn't commit. You know, black codes, like you said, peonage, convict leasing. People put in jail just so they could still be utilized to work for free. That was a system that a lot of black men went through, along with the fact that some of them were just killed because they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. So now these men, these survivors, they come home. This woman knows, well, I got to put on the strong face for these children, and I got to be his backbone and his support system to let him know when he come home that we still view him as a man. Even though he don't went out here every day to try to work around these people and be a man that he was born to be, they make him feel less than. So now I got to make him feel like a man when he come home. So I'm going to walk lightly. I'm going to tread lightly. But if anybody come in here trying to damage what we have built, I'm bringing that big stick out. Y'all just think I'm soft. I ain't soft. I just understand that I need to be the backbone for my man.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. Let me see. Minister, you still with us? Robinson? Robinson, you with us? Let's go to 816 area code. 816 area code. I think that's K with an E. K, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Oh, just finding you.
Hey, doing good, doing good. We're talking about grandmothers. We're talking about grandmothers, the impact that grandmothers had on our lives, man, and how special they were. Talk to me, Kay, if you have a story about your grandmother.
My grandmother?
Yes.
My grandmother was definitely strong. Definitely. That's what she was. And I'm telling y'all, the stories that she told us, I'm telling y'all, her best friend was the master's daughter. They lived in the house. They didn't live outside. The stories that I heard was, I don't know. They were good stories. She was strong. My grandpa didn't fool with my grandma. She packed for 22, and he didn't fool with her. And my daddy learned as we grew up, and we watched my daddy come home mad and angry. And my mom stopped it. That buck stops here around. We ain't having that. And we found out that my mom didn't pack a 22. She was a 22. So we didn't have to deal with all that. My mom would shut it down. I watched my mama shut it down. My daddy, he couldn't come home and be angry at work. She used to tell him, you got to work, wife. Take that back to work with her. To her. She used to tell him that I never understood it. But now that I got older, I understood what she meant. Take that crap back to work with you. Come on, there's no attitude, because you got an attitude at work, or something didn't go right for you, or you got your check and decided you want to go buy a car and you ain't going to pay no bills this week. We got to wait for 2 more weeks to pay the bills, so you don't go buy that car. She ain't care. Go buy that car around. Whatever money he had left in his pocket, he took it. He said, you going to be broke for 2 weeks, not me and his kids. So
Wow.
I just watched my mama handle. I watched my mama be that strong woman that she had to be. Other than that, my daddy would have came home on work day and wanted to go upside her head because He knew he was going to do something. He had no business doing with the money, or work didn't go right for him. But he shut it down. So I ain't never had to deal with that attitude either. Go back where you came from. If you come back in this door, come peaceful. I just told my nephew that the other day. When y'all hear 2817 Windows, all foolishness in. This is peace zone. And if you can't change your heart and mind, I guarantee you, my mom and daddy's spirit gonna get you out of here. They won't be able to stay here.
Wow, that's good.
Peace zone.
Captain Leonard, good morning. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
Hey, good to have you back, brother. How was vacation?
It was just wonderful. I'm kind of feel like I'm still.
You say it again, Leonard.
Feels like I'm still there.
There you go. There you go. Hey, look here. Take some of that sand and pour it out your shoes. You'll be right there. But listen, we're talking about grandmothers, Leonard, and the impact that they had on our lives and how special they were, man. Praying grandmothers and how they just had to endure so much. We talked also about they had to walk light and carry a big stick because grandmother was that cornerstone of the family a lot. Leonard, talk to me.
You know, my grandmothers were decent, respectable individuals. They didn't take no mess. And they did what they were supposed to do. They were good Christian women. So they focused mostly on their families and helping with whatever they could in the community. They were definitely reached out to other women to help other women in turmoil. And they did a lot of things that were related to ministry. And I like their very rational approach to getting things done. They weren't I would say they're not like they weren't your typical women of today. They had those values that they just did not sway from. And they were not easily upset, very much in control of themselves. No excuses, period.
Now, you say they were not very easily upset, but when they became upset, would they let you know it?
They know who they were. They were satisfied with who they were, and if they weren't, you never knew it.
So if they became upset, they wouldn't let you know that they was upset?
Well, they let you know they were very disappointed in something you may have made done, but they didn't wear their feelings on their sleeves.
Gotcha. Good.
And because they had too many things to take care of. They had too much to do to be worried about petty things. And that's how I remember them.
Had to keep that family together.
Yeah, and not so much as that. They gave you instructions to live by. You know, they saw things that this is why I respect elders. They've seen things your eyes have not seen. So when they had a chance to share something with you, they did that. They were not they wasn't all in your business and worried about anything other than what you came and spoke to them about. They wasn't apt to lie about anything because they didn't have to.
Yeah.
And the men in their lives knew their place. You take care of your business, I'm going to take care of mine. Ain't no slaves around here. Just because you got I think I heard you all mentioning something about some people that think about men that come home and take stuff out on their wives and all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
It wasn't none of that. You can get jumped on too. So, you know, everybody were more about doing their part and doing what they had to do. They didn't have no time to be really foolish.
Okay. But my thing is this right here, and I'm the one that actually brought that up about the coming home, taking out on the wives, because I have seen situations where, you know, the man, he get beat down at work or whatever reason, talk to all kind of different ways, and he come home, and his only source of release is to take it out on the very person that he say he loves so much. And I've seen that part happen as well. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me. Tucson, you there?
Let me find my button. Let me find my button.
There you go. There you go.
Good morning again. What's the matter? What's going on?
Leonard?
Leonard?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
All right, man. I wish I could go on vacation myself, man.
Trust me, I'm only here for a few days. I will be back to vacationing here very soon.
I understand. Look at here. Thought about something when we were thinking. These grandparents of ours, don't think they didn't have fun. Don't think that they didn't do the doo-wop, all that kind of stuff, and the twist. And these were the folks, I'm talking about, they knew how to get on the dance floor.
The Watusi?
You ever saw them dance?
They do the Watusi?
All of that. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yeah. I'm talking about with the swinging dress and they're swinging them up in their hand. These, when you see these, look back on the videos of the 40s and whatever the case may be, the 20s and all that kind of stuff that you can find them, you see what kind of grandparents we had. But I thought about something, and it led me to a passage I'm going to go to a passage of scripture. I know I'm going to do that sooner or later.
Come on.
It's very important. I'm saying that this one for a reason. This is in 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter. But what I want to get to is when I was a child, I think as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, now I know that it says a man, but basically when I became grown up, I put it with childish things. And that's what the difference is. At a certain point in their life, they grew up and became parents and grandparents that put the past behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we don't want to do. We want to remain children and act like children for our whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Come on. Mm-hmm. Kurt, talk to me, brother. And you're absolutely right. Absolutely. Kurt?
Yeah, I'm right here, man.
What's on your heart, brother?
I'm right here, man. You know, the days of Big Mama, you know, I'm a movie dude. So, you know, there's a movie out there. I can never remember the young brother's name, but I believe he wrote the book Letters to a Black Man or something like that.
I think you're trying to say Hill Harper, who wrote the book to his son.
What is it called?
His name is Hill Harper.
Hill Harper. Hill Harper has a film out there called Lackawanna Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful story.
You know, and in that film, it basically describes what Big Mama is,
mm-hmm.
and just how much of a part Big Mama has played in our culture, our society, and just how important it is to have one, man. You know, sometimes, man, sometimes I wonder, man, where are people going? Where they at?
Mm-hmm.
What they thinking about? You know, how to get back? You know, how to get past the foolishness? And the only thing I keep coming up with is Big Mama them saying from their graves, man, you know, baby, y'all gotta take back the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta take back the narrative. For too many years, since the civil rights movement, we have been allowing these people to tell the world who we are. And come on, y'all. I mean, come on. We all know if we just strictly think from an exploitator's point of view, I'm never going to tell the world what's true about you. I'm going to tell them what I want them to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, all I can say, man, is, you know, I miss my grandma, man. I actually wish, I say it all the time, I wish my grandmother was alive today.
Mm-hmm.
That's so that I could ask them, for example, what they thought of, what they think of modern society, like what's going on. You know what I mean? Because I would love to hear their take.
Yeah.
You know, after living through what they lived through. You know, my daddy mama didn't get her first birth certificate until my daddy was 2 years old. He was 1 or 2 years old, 1953. My daddy was born in 51, November 51. The first time my grandmama got a birth certificate was 1953. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I go say she was almost 30 or 40 before she ever even got a birth certificate. You know what I mean? I'll end it. 2 things I found out, because I talk to my family all the time about the family before. My Uncle Jerry is really good with knowing our family history before Mom and them came up here to Baltimore. My Uncle Paul, which is my daddy's brother. My Uncle Jerry is my mother's brother. My Uncle Paul is my father's brother. My Uncle Paul knows the history of my daddy's side of the family and the North Carolina side of the family, Carolina side of the family, going all the way back to Barbados, right? And what I'm always intrigued about is how both of these women went through the same thing. My mama, her daddy basically had to replant his crop almost every year because the raiders coming through trying to burn him out. My daddy mama would not go back to her home in Dunn, North Carolina, specifically because the raiders had came and burned them out. That's why we never knew her birthday, because her name was in the Bible. Her birthday was in the Bible. Only thing we knew is that she was born during leap year. So she was born on February 29th. But that's all we knew. Nobody knew the year. We celebrated 92 years of age for 4 or 5 years in a row.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? But when I think about everything they went through, brother, and I think about what accomplishments they made, man, with nothing, man. They accomplished everything with nothing, bro. I can't help but ask myself, why is it that now we got to have everything to accomplish a little?
Exactly. That's good.
Accomplish everything with nothing.
That's good. Okay, with the E, what's on your heart, sis? Talk to me. Okay. Okay, are you there?
I'm here.
Well, you need to say.
I got to get out of mute.
What's the law to take you 10 minutes?
What?
It take you 10 minutes?
Did I take what back?
It take you 10 minutes to come off mute?
Look, you know it took me a minute. I'm on my other phone. So I'm like, this is a total different phone. I got to find my mute. Then I hit the wrong one. I didn't hang up, though.
You did good. But the young ladies, talk to me about the strength that these young ladies had to have as grandmothers back in those days.
That same strength we need to have of a mustard seed. It don't take much. They just gotta want more. You want more, you have the strength to do more. That's it. They gotta want more. And they gotta see that their babies is the next generation, and they got to deal with what's going on in society. And they the ones that they gonna come home and be complaining to. They gotta understand that the next generation is coming up. We grown, so we don't gotta deal with it. We gotta deal with them that gotta deal with it. So to make my road a little easier for me, I make sure my grandbaby that's coming up, they know the right from wrong. And I try to tell their mama, look, just because you don't want to know better, let them know better.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Because let me ask you this question. Because you're a grandmother right now. How many grandkids you got?
22. I have 22 grandkids.
Okay, you got 22 grandkids. And let me ask you this, and it may be a very unfair comparison. But are you the grandmother that your grandmother was to you?
You know, my grandmother, I have to be a better grandma than my grandma was to me. I can't be the same. I have to be better. So I'm a better grandma to my grandkids than my grandma was to me. My grandma lived in a whole other state. She lived in Houston, Texas, and we lived in Missouri. But when we went to see her, she didn't play. And my mama took us there every year. She made sure we went to see her mama every year. And when she got to the point she didn't want to travel, she sent for her mama so her mama could come here. And her sisters and brothers brought her up here because that's where she wanted to be. And my grandma was a great grandma because my kids was coming up. And she fell in love. My grandma was a trip. My grandma only liked her light-skinned grandkids. So one of my daughters was definitely her favorite. I'm light-skinned, I was her favorite. But when I found out that's how my grandma was, my mama was the same way. And I made sure I wasn't going to be like that. So I looked at their flaws and said, I ain't going to do that. So I ain't gonna be like that.
So you say their favorite. Okay, listen to me, Kay. You say their favorite, the light skin children over the dark skin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They did, and I made sure I didn't do that. So I was able to watch them with things they did and things I thought, oh, that's cool. That's grandma. When I grow up, I'm gonna do that or do better. Or ooh, that's bad, grandma. When I grow up, I would never do that. And I raised my kids to know. And I told my daughter, don't be like that because that's how grandma was. My grandma loved you to death because you was light skinned. You couldn't do no wrong. All the dark skin was, they was bad. Y'all just bad. They be like, grandma, why they bad? She used to always tell me they was bad. I don't go play with them, K. Francis. They bad. So I didn't grow up. My grandkids know they all equal with me. All of them. We call them chocolate and all kind of stuff. Like, we don't play that. We don't discriminate.
That's good. That's good. Mr. Neil, good morning. How you doing, sir? I think you're frozen over there. Yeah, Mr. Neil, you frozen over there, brother. We're trying to get to you, but you're frozen. Leonard, talk to me, brother. Is that a commonplace? Favoring the light-skinned kids over the dark-skinned kids, is that commonplace?
You know, I'm gonna refrain from being so nasty today.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
But that type of foolishness belongs to certain people. I mean, I can't think of something really more disgusting than that. Because that is so related to this race foolishness that white people created. So, you know, I'm just glad that my grandparents weren't like that.
And let me say this here to people that's listening. He's not attacking Kay's grandmother. He's not doing that. He's just talking about a situation.
You know, because it's just, it would be a shame. And I've heard a lot of people like that. I'm just glad I wasn't, you know, raised around that mentality.
I'd have had problems.
Because, you know, I'm not saying because of I would have had any problems. But this is my problem with white racist. This is my problem with anybody that believes that anything that they had to offer was worth anything to Black people. So I don't value no light skin over no dark skin. To me, it's not a value issue. Or I couldn't like someone more because of the color of their skin. You know, so it's good that most people are understanding that that's foul. So I would hope that people have gotten away from it, but I still hear about it in certain, things today.
It still happens.
Certain things among even Black people with the whole issue of them feeling a certain way. And remember, your feelings ain't everybody's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you feel a certain way about yourself does not mean that everybody else feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would hope that people who are like that would evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And because that is a remnant, I believe, of that structure, that white superiority infrastructure
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be done away with.
Exactly. That's
because
good.
truly, light-skinned people have no more value than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
They're just as trifling and just as nasty as everybody else. They don't have any qualities any better than anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the notion that someone would favor it is a deep-seated issue.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's keep this thing going. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? What do you feel about that? And it's colorism. Is colorism what is what basically what we're talking about? I think Rico, I think we might have lost Rico. Rico, are you there? Yeah, I think Rico had to take off for a second. But Tucson, talk to me, brother.
You'd be surprised. I thought about them. We used to call them Maladins. I think you pronounce it Maladins. But they were actually like
mulatto.
Mulatto?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Y'all pronounce it better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were actually, they would go to the extreme. I knew there's a place called Mallet, Louisiana. And I don't want to put them out there, but they know what I'm talking about. Just so you can get listen. They would marry kinfolk. Because if you was dark skinned, you wasn't gonna be in that family.
Good Lord.
And they would go to the extreme of it. So they would keep it in the family. To keep it light. So anyway.
Wow.
Grandmother. So that wasn't just in the how because some grandmothers they would treat you kind of funny if you was a certain complexion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would do that. Not mine. She was just my grandmother was something else. I'm talking about. Look, I remember when me and my cousin stayed with her, and you know how you try to get that last little rice out the plate,
and
you have to scrape the plate.
Yeah.
She would hate that. Stop that.
Mm-hmm.
Go get you something else to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was always one thing about grandmothers. They knew how to make a meal out of a little bit.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know how in the world one chicken would have so many pieces.
Mm-hmm. They don't clone that chicken.
Matter of fact, we had fried chicken and they had a little bit left of whatever chicken they had left, if it was a chicken. They had fried chicken, and they always had something in the gravy that you can mix and put with your rice. But they knew how to make a meal.
Oh, they were probably them gizzards and liver and gizzards.
Cook some, man, what you talking about? They make something that make you bite your finger, bite your tongue, bite your lip. Because they mixed it. They knew how to cook, man. I'm telling you, boy.
Don, are you getting hungry over there?
They was just, huh?
Are you getting hungry?
Man, I almost went back home. I'm telling you. But you say get it back on the porch and And I was thinking about that, and they had so much on their mind. And I know that you said something that was true. It wasn't a fast rock in the rocking chair.
Yeah.
It was nice, and it almost had rhythm to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When she would be rocking on that porch. And she might have had a pipe in her hand. A mouth. Well, she definitely had some of them. They had a little dip. That's nuts.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's back in the day there, bro.
And check this out. She had a little handkerchief, and she'd keep it in her upper breast, and she'd take that handkerchief out, and she had some change in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm talking about real grandmother.
Real grandmother. Come on. Mr. Neal, good morning. How you doing this morning, sir? Unmute yourself there. Okay. We're talking about grandmothers, man, and having the grandmothers to get back on the front porch and the impact that grandmothers had on our lives, man. Let's talk about grandma.
I mean, grandmother, she was a remarkable woman in a lot of ways, and she taught me a lot of values that I have to this day. She was, she had a hand in it. And matter of fact, she was motivated me to go to FAM because she went to FAM. So kind of had to hold up the family tradition when it came to that. And, one of the things that I always tell people that I'm real proud of my grandmother is she was the first Black educator in Duval County school system, because it was two different sides of Duval. During the time that she was coming in, Duval County didn't recognize the Black side of the school system as being a part of Duval County. So she was the very first educator to actually integrate Duval County school system, basically.
It's powerful,
which was it's bragging rights, I want to say, in a lot of ways. So that tells me that I know who that person really is, and who she and what impact she's made on the school system now. Because I have a god sister who's a principal there. I have another good dear friend of mine. He's a principal in Jacksonville as well. So they're just the profit of, I want to say they are profiting off of her hard work. And I'm not saying in a bad way, but in a way that they're able to gain some kind of success by being principals, because there wasn't no such thing as a Black principal. Not as long as a Black teacher.
Wow.
And a Black, and she was a math teacher. She just wasn't teacher. She was a math teacher. So that she was a mathematics teacher. So she taught 10th and 12th for over 30 years. So I was proud to find that out about her. So.
Absolutely. Grandmothers are for a big part the cornerstone of the family. Grandmothers are the ones that keep the families together, and they're that glue. They could be going through terrible situations themselves, but at the end of the day, you'll never know that they're going through a situation, and they'll throw this on you. It's okay, baby. It's all right, baby. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Leonard, what'd you say to that? Grandma had a way of calming down any situation, man.
Yeah, she just didn't sound like that.
Come on now. It's okay, baby.
It's because that they had been through so much. The stuff that you go through, they had been through. You cry the same way about the same thing all the time. Or do you get used to that? Some people, they fall out anyway because they just love falling out. I mean, everything that they fall out. They never come up with a different way to handle a situation. But that's what grandmothers did, because they don't, how many like you got Miss K, 22 grandkids. You think one of them ain't got an issue that another one had? But they all her grandbabies, and she gonna deal with all of them. If it's 22 different issues, she gonna be there for them on them 22 different issues, and they may or may not be the same, but she's the one they come to because she's a very like rational person. She may have an answer for their problem. She can give them some wisdom. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, say, for instance, very much like that. You know, when things are the roughest, the worst thing to do is fall to pieces. I mean, I'm not going to sit around with too many people and just whine all the time. You got to get around some people with some backbone.
Yeah.
They know how to handle problems and get you back going. So that's a lot of times what grandmothers would provide it for people. Not to mention, grandmothers were really operating in a role. They took responsibility for their children, like my grandparents. It wasn't no, your grandmama say, no, your mama, your daddy. Yeah, you knew they was your grandparents, but they knew they made all of y'all. Those who they were. You're their children, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
You know, they knew you when you come out. You know what I'm saying? So what they look like falling to pieces over something you said, and they done been through it 20-some years ago. You know, they have experience. That's why they react the way they act, because of experience. Your grandmother may be 70 now, but she may have had your problem when she was 25. And she probably don't talk to other grandkids with similar problems to yours. You know, it wasn't uncommon for, you know, how sometimes, you ask grandmama, since when such and such start staying here? Well, you know, they got some issues, but they be all right. Nothing that you should be concerned about.
Don't you worry about it, baby.
Don't you worry about it. For whatever reason, they took care of people that way, and they would, you know, you could give them your confidence.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that was your relationship. A grandmother could have 70 different kids and treat every last one of them differently because of who they are. They don't just lump them together or whatever. Shame on you for being a grandmother that does that type of thing. But like Miss K say, Miss K got 22 grandkids, and I'm sure she grandmothering kids who ain't hers. Or kids are finding her as a resource because her children are letting them know, my grandmother will help you. See, that's word of mouth. You're a decent person, and that's why people go to those people.
Does that take us back to the village?
Yes, somewhat, I would say. But you remember, a village has order. We talking about people who are drawn to kind-hearted people that's willing to help them and provide them some type of security. You know, some people ain't never got a hug before. They don't know nothing about no hug from somebody that don't want nothing from them. That's a lot what grandmothers do.
Exactly. Let me go. Rico, you back with us?
Yeah, I'm right there.
Have you ever wondered why grandmothers always doing different things for people that they don't even know? Because I spoke about my grandmother feeding people. She would feed people that they didn't know, and that she didn't know them at all. But she would always say, well, baby, somewhere in the good book, it says that if someone is hungry, you feed them. If they're hungry, you feed them.
Yeah, Can you say that again? Why grandmama did what now?
Have you ever wondered why grandmother always doing things for people that she didn't even know? Because a lot of times, because my grandmother will feed people. I come home, man, and somebody sitting at the table I never saw before in my life. And I say, Mama, who is that? Because I never called grandma Mama. I call her Mama, who is that? Don't worry about it, baby. Don't worry about it, baby. It's okay. I said, why did the table asking questions like that? She said, well, in the good book, I always say if someone is hungry, you feed them. They just hungry, baby. We give them something to eat. She didn't say I, she said we giving them something to eat. Have you ever wondered why grandmothers do stuff like that?
No, I didn't wonder because I knew it was compassion. She taught it to me. I had it. You know, it was respect. It was common respect and compassion for the next human being that you might not know their experiences, but you could tell when a lot of times you could tell when they're going for good or bad first off. You know, when they just kind of, just trying to be manipulative or opportunistic. But it's that kind-heartedness, like Leonard said a second ago. You know what I'm saying? People are attracted to that kind-heartedness, and at the same time, when you got a kind heart, you're going to be sincere. So it's going to be hard for you to walk by somebody that's hungry.
It's gonna be hard for you to not hug that child that's crying when everybody else is walking past that child that's crying. You know, like the other day when public citizens said, well, we gonna need to be a school teacher. And going to school and being able to interact with children that the teachers or the principal can't get through, that lets me know that somewhere in my heart I'm able to connect with people. And that's the biggest thing about this, is that we have to put ourselves in other people's shoes sometimes. When Obama got elected, I called my grandmama first. I shed tears with my grandmama. You know why? I wasn't happy that we had a black president. I was happy that my grandmama got to see it, because I know what she went through. When she had me sitting out watching Eyes on the Prize religiously on every Sunday. When she had me watching 60 Minutes and paying attention to all these black programs and space shuttle lifts. I mean, the things of importance. And she only made it past the 4th grade herself, 4th grade since her walking now. But all of her children were number 1, number 3, number 5 ranked in their class. Intelligent people. You know, I saw both of my granddads were alcoholics. You know what I'm saying? They were severely flawed. They were the black men surviving and trying to provide in this society, in the South. You know, so I thought them be resilient and be strong and go above and beyond and show compassion, show leniency, and have that thoughtfulness. You know, like I said earlier, most of the children when my dad was growing up, all his sisters and his sister's friends would come over and they'd eat breakfast before they went to school at her house, because most of the children didn't have food at their house. They didn't eat breakfast, and she knew how important a breakfast was. You know, so many different things just about human nature that she taught me. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, we have to put ourselves in their shoes, understand where they came from. Why were they so resilient? Why did they put up with so much? Why did they stand in the house with that man that probably didn't deserve it? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, in this day and time, both of my grandfathers would have been divorced early. They would have been divorced, but one of my grandmamas, she stayed strong. She still in there. My other grandmother, she got remarried before I was even born. So, you know, my step grandfather, they still had that resilience. But they were the last line of defense. And especially, you know, I don't want to get long with it, man, but I can't let this get by with what Kay said about her grandmother having a preference for light-skinned children. And it don't get me wrong, that is very dysfunctional, but I can understand where that came from. And we got to remember, during the time that our grandparents were children, they had grandparents that were born in the 1800s, because our grandparents were probably children in the 1920s, early 1900s. So that means their grandparents came from the early 1800s, and I ain't no telling what kind of stories they had to tell, but I guarantee you they heard stories that we didn't hear. We did hear them, we couldn't comprehend because times have changed so much. But the thing was that you had a dominant, racist, terroristic society that created a value system. And if you wanted to survive in that value system, you had to conform to that value system. And that value system was based on partly a lighter skinned people being better than just because. So the closest thing you get to that is always going to be looked at as a plus. And the farthest thing you are away from it with your black self. You know, we was one of the first ones. I ain't gonna say first one. We picked that up. Old black stuff. We picked the call talking about old black stuff, especially when they worship. You so blacky blue. And we ridicule them for it. But you know, sometimes it's very beautiful. I see some very beautiful dark people. But some people they consider darkness an attraction or favor. So
Absolutely.
That's where well, my children might be able to come out better. The closer to white they look, even white people started getting a disdain for light-skinned black people because some of you ain't gonna be able to tell who's the pure white man or not.
Let me do this. Let me go.
These black people got brainwashed. They came up in a certain era, in a certain time, in a certain atmosphere where they were almost forced to conform, or you were gonna always be on the bottom or die. But if you did be on the bottom, you can make the most out of small things. Like
right there for a minute.
Make the most out of something small.
Because hold right there for a minute. I want to go to Kurt. Kurt, what's on your heart, brother? Kurt, you there? Curtis, are you there? Mr. Neal, talk to me. How dysfunctional? How dysfunctional, or is it dysfunctional to favor the light-skinned kids over the dark-skinned kids? And it's a reality.
First, I just want to apologize, tell everybody good morning. I got right in and started talking. So again, I want to. That was kind of rude. I was sitting there just thinking about that. But
want to tell you, sir.
I mean, what's been shared is very enlightening, but it's unfortunate. But I believe that something that I heard you say, and I heard Bennett say this back to back. If you're a true lover of God, color not gonna matter. We can blame everybody for being this type of person, that type of person, but at the end of the day, the foundation is God. And I heard that dear sister say the same thing. She says, I treat all the same. And my thing is that I get what my dear brother was saying, because unfortunately that has happened in society where they have pegged us against one another. But let's get back to the root of what's happening. We're talking about the grandmothers who have superseded that, who has went past that. I mean, that's a unique situation where I've seen where you're saying that she's pegged black against the lighter skinned one, because I've never encountered that. I've always been a dark man, you know. And my grandmother always loved me. And like I said, and I told you this privately, and I shared this with you, is that I had some homeboys when she passed away. They when they came to the funeral, they was like, "Man, that's my grandmother too." They said, "You have no idea that when you would come over and play with us, a lot of times that's the only time we would eat, because my grandmother would feed them." I didn't know that. I'm just a little boy, and I don't think that's why I said it goes back to what I heard y'all say. You got to deal with compassion.
Yeah.
We have to stay on that. I mean, I get, but those people who are pegging the separation of light skin and dark skin, that's something else that only God gonna be able to change. And we can address it and say, "Oh, this is what they're conditioned to do," but your condition is also built on how do you move forward. And there's no way you're gonna tell me that a true grandmother is gonna do something like that. I'm not saying that they are bad people. I'm just saying they might be a little confused, and they might be a little bit more leaning towards this because this is what they might dislike. Sometimes it's just your preference. It's like some people like light-skinned women. Some people like dark-skinned women. That might be just your preference. It has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with a racial line. Sometimes this is your preference. This is your taste. So we have to look at that as well. So that also could have played a part as well. But I definitely say to the good grandmothers out here, salute you. God bless you for the foundation you have set. And we're gonna move forward with that, because I think all the negative, God has definitely turned that and superseded it with some good. So that's about the basis I can say about that. But again, I've never experienced, so I couldn't really say.
Okay, let's do this right here. I want to go to Leonard, and then we got another call. I'm gonna go to the caller. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Right there with what Mr. Neal was talking about. Minister Neal just mentioned it. It depends on who you are and what have you in your character. That never was true, but for some reason people use that. Like, you know, it never ever really mattered to me. Like, say for instance, I seen a post today related to Reverend E.V. Hill, and what I remember as a little boy is that my grandmother would call me to tell me that black people were on television because they were about lifting one another up, never separating. So any black person that made it, any black person, it didn't matter what color, whatever, you knew who they were. So you supported that, them getting ahead. And that's what they supported in us. All that ignorant stuff about race or what have you, yeah, it exists. but don't allow it to monopolize your time and your character. I'm like Minister Neil. I'm not going to sit here and make up a story about something that didn't happen for me. We were raised different. Some of you come from other places and other areas where certain things are common that may not be common for other people. You got some women to swear like this thing, even with size and stuff like that. Men don't. I've never been around a bunch of real men talking about anything like that. You know, or excluding anyone, especially from love. So, you know, we have to make sure that we're teaching our children healthy ways to deal with this world. And tell the truth. And quit basing our standards in someone else's lies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to read this what Public Citizen wrote. He said, I think a big part of the solution to the colorism and internationalized racism is to spend more time celebrating Black achievements, Black beauty, Black success instead of the bad. It is a media problem in a lot of ways. It is a media problem in a lot of ways. I think we have Toya with a T. Toya with a T. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Morning, family. I'm early for Monday. Today is Friday. Hello.
Hey, doing good. I like what and we're talking about grandmothers. We're talking about grandmothers and the impact that grandmothers had on our lives and the struggle that they had to go through and even endure, the strength that they had. Do you want to say anything about a grandmother?
Oh man, you know, the beautiful thing is when you got everybody on the up and up. You know, but you know, I always can wear it, right? So I got one from each side. I got one from the side of the Lord, and I got one from the side of the devil, straight up. The one who pray for us and don't send us in the wrong way, you know, bless their heart, both of them going now. Then on that other one, she was with all the street stuff and all the drinking and drugging and things that would endanger the kid. You know, so coming from that background, it's a part of why this confusion is out there. You know, because you can't have two pillars going in different directions. And then the one that's going to entertain you the most, unfortunately, is going to be the one with drugs and drinking. I don't want to listen to grandma, all that church music. What are you talking about? They over there partying, drinking, smoking, robbing, stealing, selling drugs, got all this money all over the place. And y'all sitting over here broke, ain't got no money, barely got some food, ain't nothing going on. You want people to be in at a certain time. So you already know how that went. But the praying grandmother, her prayers worked. Just trust and believe, crawling in and out of the windows and all the drug deals going bad. You're still here. Don't discredit the praying grandmama. But it depends on what you're praying. Is it the P-R-A-Y or the P-R-E-Y? And I love both my grandmothers. I love both my grandmothers. Please don't get it twisted. But I understand that one of them was not on the right side of the track. That was a P-R-E-Y.
Yeah.
And it's real. If it hasn't happened to you, doesn't mean it's real. You know how some of us get corrupted? The adults corrupt the seed. If the mama doing it and the daddy doing it, oftentimes it could be the grandma. So I think we should take consideration sometimes and understand that everybody don't come from the right side of the track. Everybody don't got them soft and squishy memories of grandparents and grandfathers and, you know, righteousness at all. You know what I mean? So it's a very delicate situation when we talk about pillars, and when we understand the pillars and we look at today, we need to understand what the pillars are, what the pillars standards are.
Absolutely.
This you know, this generation out here, this is not just, they just didn't do this by themselves. This came from, you know, elders, you know, for whatever reason. One was on one side of the track, the other was on the other side of the track, and unfortunately, it looked like what the devil got going on. It looked like it's a lot of fun when you're young. You know what I'm saying? So, but no, I mean, y'all are definitely right, and it works both ways when it comes to them grandmas.
And see, that's the thing right there, and what a lot of people would take from this, and they would lean toward the grandmother that was out there. The grandmother was out there partying because they thought she was having such a good time. and you go to the praying grandmother, and you say that in some situations she don't have a lot. She don't have a lot of food, a lot of stuff like that. Listen to the gospel music, and a young mind wouldn't want to be in that type environment. They want to be where they quote unquote turning up. Donna Tucson, what do you say to that? Donna, you there? I think we might have lost Donna there. Miss Neal, talk to me. What do you think? Majority of the time they'll lean toward the party grandmother.
I mean, that's because that's what's they might think this was fun right now. But, you know, but we also got to understand something that the Bible tells us clear as day that you know, in Psalms, the 34th chapter of it, and it talks about putting your trust in. And it says, put not your trust in man, but put your trust in me. And I think that's where we can put it into the world and know the world was having a good time. But at the end of the day, we have to understand is that that's just superficial. It's a bucket with a pinhole in it. You can't use it. It's polluted water. It's a towel with a hole in it. You can't drive it. A car without gas. You can't drive. I can go on and on these different analogies I can use. What I'm saying to you is that that's fun, but what happens when it's over? You know, I think about when I preached one time. I preached the party is over, and I preached it over in Exodus 16:16. When I spoke about when God told the children of Israel, He said, "Look, I want you to look back at her, because you'll never see her again." And we have to understand that. That's fun. That's fine. But what happens when it's time to get up and be grown? When you look up, you parted all this time. You know, I look at people sometimes on Facebook. I look at them, and sometimes I look at them as I say, I wonder, is this really? Do they really feel the importance of what's going to happen when their grandkids see this, or when their great grandkids see this? Even with these podcasts, I mean, the things that you say out your mouth, you wonder, are you really thinking about the legacy that you're setting, that you're going to leave behind? But it's fun. Yeah. Having a good time. But, you know, people, and I tell people, I said, you could say that the grandmother who didn't have the money and who didn't have this, it's a story over in the Bible. It talks about how the rich man and Lazarus met at the crossroad, and he was in hell. And what did he say? He said, "Look, can you please give me?" Begged Jesus. He said, "Can you please give me a chance to go back up, at least to tell them that hell is real?" And Jesus said, "No, you had your chance. You had your chance." And again, we got to understand, He's giving us a chance. Yeah, that's good. And sometimes that grandmother is the mark. It's the martyr for you to pattern yourself after, but you don't want to do that because it's not fun. So just remember that that world, it's going to give you everything you want, but it's not going to give you anything in return. That's why we sing the song, "This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, the world can't take it away." Come on. That's good. Man, look at we only got a few more minutes before we get out of here, man. Tucson, you back with us?
Yeah, I'm glad you came back, because we allowing each other as a people, everybody, to go about your own way. Do what you want. Go in any direction. Make whatever choices with no guidance. And see how destructive we wind up. Everybody's making their own choices. We all have rights to do this or live like this. But there was a certain point, and what happened to us is it was passing down some wisdom and some standards to live by, because they got it from somewhere. So I saw something that kind of says more than what I can say. It says, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest down in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And so, and it goes on and on and on. We don't talk to each other. See how the communication is? We can't even understand the language that the kids talk, and then they talk in a way that I don't even understand. And I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just the fact that they won't accept correction. They think we're stupid. They think we have a slave mentality. They think that, well, that was back in the day, and that's not going to work. Well, look at us and take a look at the standards and the appearance of people that even came out of depression, and then look at us now and see if there's not something missing from just old grandmother or grandmama or big mama. Even, and I'm sorry, the cold cut lady, the frozen cut lady, the candy lady.
Yeah. That's good.
That's a house that everybody could go to. And that was we didn't even know it, but that was a ministry she had. Yeah. I don't care how bad a child was. I don't care where he came from. He could come to the house and you check him out. He pulled his pants up in that house. He wouldn't cuss and fuss there.
Yeah.
No matter what his parents might have been a crackhead or a drunk or alcoholic, this and that and that other thing. But when they got to that particular house, she would say, "Come here, little boy, let me talk to you." And she would show him some love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm going to keep it short and positive. All you got to do if you want to sit on the porch is take 2 steps and one step and put it in front of each other, walk out the door and sit out on the porch. It's safe. Believe me. It's all safe. I just want to keep it positive for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. Public citizen wrote something else. Let me see who they got here. I have always had a big suspicion of authority and power. Okay. It is kind of like what Donald is talking about. There is often a good reason for not trusting authority. Okay. Leonard, what do you say to that?
That's wisdom. We talk about certain people as if they were somehow so different. And that's how I relate. You have to have just as much character now as anyone would have had then. And if you think about how you respond to things, do you consider that other person may be responding that way as well? The notion of looking at things that are more similar than divisive. We're not all gonna love one another and everything like this utopia y'all be thinking about. I mean, I don't think that should be the goal, but definitely going in the right direction is valuing and respecting people, other human beings, for just that. If that's the easiest place for some people to start, but don't constantly be negative.
That's good. That's good. Okay, what's on your heart, sis? Okay, you there? Toya with a T, talk to me. Toya?
As usual, yeah. I was saying, sorry I have to on late, but as usual, great topic, man. Great topic. Something we definitely need to talk about. I appreciate y'all so much for just being open, just being honest, and I gotta agree. What Rico just said, it's really that simple. Just go ahead, take 2 steps, 1 step in front of each other, have a seat on the porch because it is safe, and you just don't understand how your energy helps save it. So, yeah, have a good day.
Hey, likewise. Minister Neil, what's on your heart, bro?
Oh, no, I just enjoyed myself. Sorry, it was a little late, but I'm down here to get ready for the 74th birthday going on. And,
Yes, sir.
And like I say, it's fun. It's funny that you were saying about the wisdom. My little nephew, what you met, the one who did the podcast with.
Mm-hmm.
I was reflecting back with something he said. He said that he didn't really get into the politics side of society until his grandmother started inducing it to him. So with anything that we do, make sure that we introduce the right things to our kids.
Exactly.
Period. I mean, I can definitely understand. You have to get off that porch at some time, but when you get off that porch, make sure you're, as we like to say, we got to be suited and booted. We have to be suited and booted. Get these kids equipped.
Absolutely. Yeah, good deal. Nancy Leonard, what's going on at 3 o'clock today, sir?
If you did not get a chance to hear this show in its entirety, log on to www.dkmmediagroup.com at 3 o'clock Eastern today.
Good deal. Minister Neil, can I get you the prayers out, sir?
All hearts and minds are clear. As we seek the throne of mercy, we want to also remember the ones that who have fallen to COVID, and also to my dear brother who he buried his daughter on Tuesday. She was 20 years old. She was on her way to med school. Young 16-year-old young man took her life about 2 weeks ago. He was, as a matter of fact, he was apprehended the day after her funeral. But as we go forward, I want to continue to keep them in prayer as well.
Yes, sir.
And anyone else who is on here that is in need of prayer, God has already turned it around. Blessed, gracious, and wonderful Father, we come to you at this time. We want to thank you for a day that you have made. It's a unique day. It's a day we'll never see again. And Lord, as we go forward today, Father God, we ask you to continue to press us on. If we can go to and press on to the hour mark. We give you all the honor and all the glory. We thank the men that are on here. We thank you that the listeners that are on here. Thank you for the fellowship that we have. We thank you for the opinions and to agree or disagree. We thank you for that. It's healthy to grow as one people. Lord, we thanking you for all the blessings that you have already set upon us. Lord, we ask you right now to continue to strengthen the families that are in need, from financial situations to a mental situation. We ask you right now to strengthen them as well. Lord, we ask you right now to continue to keep Brother Raheem and his podcast and keep him moving forward to not only change lives, but change the world. We're giving him that mandate. We give you all the honor and all the glory. Lord, when it's yours to call for out the answer. Lord, we pray that you lift up to your kingdom, you crown each every one of us in the blessed sweet name of King Jesus. I do pray. Amen, amen, and amen.
Amen. We are about to get out of here for today. It's been a great
Amen.
We're about to look at Kate. All of a sudden, she found a mute button at the end of the broadcast. I called on her name the whole time. And Rico, you see this mess, man? Again, you need to have a conversation with your sister, man. She ain't acting right. But listen.
No, I didn't have to reschedule my cookout for 2 hours. I didn't have a lot of stuff to do this
Hey, listen.
Sound like she was being a grandmama. That's what it sounded like. She was being somebody's grandmama.
Yes, my grandmama.
I'm being a grandma.
But listen, it's time for us to get out of here now. You go wait to the end of the broadcast. Now you want to come in and explain the thing. No, wait, no. We get ready to go now. We get ready to go now. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna play this song on our way out. I'm gonna play this song as we end. I'm gonna pull this song up and play that as well. Let me put it up
but
here.
Before we go, you want us to do one thing, and it's real simple.
Listen, it's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow to be a part of your morning. It is now time for us to get out of here for today. I'm going to end with some Shirley Caesar. The name of the song is I Remember Mama. I remember mama. So we're going to play that as we going out today. Not going to play the whole song. We're going to play a piece and a part of it. But my thing is this right here. It is now 10:09. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. Get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Y'all take care of each other and have a great weekend. We'll see you back here, God willing, Monday morning.
I remember Mama and the love that she gave. Leaning by her bedside, I can still hear Mama say, the people are depending on you, Shirley. Don't you let them down. I remember Mama in a happy way. We went to school with holes in our shoes. We didn't have much, but the Lord saw us through.